Look, we all accidentally damage our phones. It happens. Now, Straight Talk Wireless's new Platinum Unlimited plan includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, data, and more. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Unfiltered. Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mahente.
If I am Sean Payton and I know that I've won games and I am the New Orleans Saints and I know I've won games with backup quarterbacks in the past like Teddy Bridgewater, I have all the confidence in Jameis Winston as my guy. The only thing they need is for Jameis to kind of just hold things together.
Keyshawn, Jay Will, and Zubin. Weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio, your smart speaker, or on ESPN News.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
Happy Football Wednesday, I guess we would call it, as the Pittsburgh Steelers get ready to kick off here against the Baltimore Ravens at about 3:40. It's looking like on NBC. So I apologize. I'm going to be a little distracted today, but I got Benny Snell going in fantasy. And let's be honest, some things, it's all about priorities in terms of fantasy football. You know where I stand on that. Here's the crazy thing, though. And I don't want to be one of those guys, right? I don't want to be one of those quote-unquote football bros. But I have a complaint. Now, the whole reason why this game's going down at 3:40 today is because NBC, and keep in mind, this is a Steelers-Ravens game, all right? There's a lot on the line here. I get it. Lamar Jackson's not playing. RG3's playing now. Mark Ingram's out. Dobbins is out. Calais Campbell's out. Like, the Ravens right now are struggling to field the team, and I get that. But it's still the 6-4 Ravens taking on the 10-0 Steelers, right? And they're obviously divisional rivals with a lot to play for. So this is still a very intriguing game. And the fact that NBC took it upon themselves to move this game to 3:40 because of the Rockefeller Christmas lighting ceremony taking place tonight starting at 8, I'm not going to lie, it baffles me a little bit. Because the way I've been raised, the way I've been preconditioned, it's that football rules everything. Now, if this was the Denver Broncos taking on the Chargers, I get it. But this is a big game right now. Like, Kuz, how many times have you watched the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree lighting special?
Never.
Never.
No.
Not one time.
I didn't know they did that.
And same here. Now, I get it. It's a big tree. Fantastic.
Well, not
but
this
I'll
year.
see picture. Is it
It's pretty
smaller?
rough. It's very it's in times with, COVID in the pandemic.
Then just watch the viewership roll in. Now, listen, no disrespect to Kelly Clarkson. No disrespect to Dolly Parton, Gwen Stefani, whoever else is performing tonight, Pentatonics, who, by the way, take a break.
This is their
Pentatonics.
moment. No, this is their time to shine.
I just watched the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade with my son. It was a 2-hour Pentatonics concert.
They hibernate for the rest of the year. This is their moment.
I'm just saying, take a break. So with that being said, I don't know, maybe it's going to be cool. I just can't believe that beat out the Ravens-Steelers game.
I wonder how those discussions took place. You know what? I bet they didn't. First of all, you have to do it in the dark, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to light a Christmas tree, of course. Yeah.
So it's like 8 to 10.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, this game's at 3:40, so I don't know what's between at 7 to 8. I don't know what's taking the precedence there, but I just think, you know why I think they kept it this way is because they didn't know for sure if the game was going to take place. And so you can't bump the tree lighting out.
Sure you can.
And then put it back in.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Megan Trainor's going to be there as well, I just saw. Well, then, hey,
all about that base.
Forget it. Then we got Megan Trainor. We got Mariah Carey, the Goo Goo Dolls.
Oh.
Woo. That's a barn burner where I come from.
Pentatonics, by the way. I mean, the family loves Pentatonics.
Yeah, tell Pentatonics to calm down a little bit.
It is pretty cool what they do. They're talented. But
no,
you're
they're
right,
good,
too.
but they're everywhere.
They're just Christmas time for me.
Yeah,
right?
Christmas and Thanksgiving, that's when they come around.
It. All right. By the way, how many times did you get punched in the face at sparring or something? You look a little different.
My eye?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So no,
I noticed this yesterday.
This happened like 2 days ago.
What happened to you?
We were grappling, and I took a a forehead to my eye socket.
Dude, I mean, what is going on lately?
What's
here?
up, man?
I mean,
Hey, we got guys with fights coming up. I've
seen you fight and
Yeah.
look better coming off a fight
man.
than you have the last couple of weeks.
So we got a bunch of 205ers and a bunch of heavyweights training for fights coming up here at the end of the month in December in Tallahassee and Jacksonville. So I'm getting them ready, and needless to say, they're getting me ready as well, as you can tell by my face sometimes.
I didn't know if it was the like Johnny Cash look yesterday, all in black with the jean jacket, or something. I was like, something's up with the face.
I'm gonna be honest, my eyes felt a lot better in my life than it does right now.
It does look like it hurts a little bit.
It's all right.
Like it's not like glaring. It just looks like.
Well, the main damage is behind my eyebrow.
I got you.
So thankfully, I have some big bushy eyebrows to cover that damage up.
Like the kids and Steph once said, "Why does he do this?"
Yep.
Yeah. Why does he do this?
I hear you. And as I've been told many times, if you're going to be dumb, you better be tough.
I'm dumb and not tough. I don't know what the hell that means. That is bad, I guess. Hey, we got some GM ideas because that's what we do.
Yeah.
There was somebody that wrote today, I think I saw, it was a Fansided. I shared it with you guys. I think it was fansided.com. I'm not too familiar with them, but and the article was interesting about like potential candidates and a lot of the similar names. I mean, we'll have a discussion about that in a bit because I do think the names are interesting. There's a couple that do intrigue. Like I get a little more excited about some than others, even though I'm not going to sit here and handicap the race because I think we sometimes pretend to know what a GM is. Now, what makes a good GM, I can tell you in hindsight, but I just don't know in foresight, like this guy's going to be really good or not. I think we're kidding ourselves if we know that. We know candidates, that's fair enough, but you know, listen, I can play golf. It doesn't mean I'm good. You know, it's a little bit of that in the GM spot, I think. But this article said that, it basically said it, that Dave Caldwell kind of said, hey, why Shad Khan? Why'd you do this now? You know, why did you fire Dave Caldwell now? It's like, well, I'll tell you that. The fan base ain't saying that. Fan base didn't say you fired Dave Caldwell too early.
Oh, no, they'll say we'll see you later.
Yeah. I mean, it's what took so long is what they would say. And I think the answer here is simple. Like, I don't know this, but I think once they hit a single season record for losses in a row, I think Shad Khan said, you know what? Now it's time to make a move. Like, you've hit a new low in franchise history, and this is on somebody, and I'm blaming somebody, and it's your time to go. I don't think he was waiting for 1-15, even though Doug Marone's name could be attached to it, everything else. I think that meant something. I think it signified that losing 10 in a row, which kind of went a little bit under the radar just because we're so used to the Jags losing right now, but they've lost 10 in a row. They've lost 13 in a row combined over 2 seasons. That's like the longest streak. But 10 in a row in a single season is a record. It's a new low for a Jaguars franchise that has plenty of lows. And so I think he took that and said, you know what? It's time.
But doesn't it kind of surprise you, though, that Doug Marone's going to have his job for the entire season? Because like you just said, this is a monumental season for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the worst possible way. Yeah. Right? They're on pace to have the worst record in franchise history, and they very well could. And we've seen in the past with Jack Del Rio, we've seen in the past with other guys where if the seasons are that bad, they're getting fired, right? Yeah. They're not going to make it through this season. So are you a little surprised? Like, I get it. Dave Caldwell gets let go. But are you shocked that Doug Marrone has retained his job for the entire year, even though it's probably going to be the worst season in Jaguars history?
I'm not shocked, and it's threefold, and I'll continue to repeat this one. I just don't think he feels like a change midseason helps anything in terms of helps you get to a certain place. And right now, I think Shad's smart enough to know he's not trying to look for an in-season bump. He doesn't care if they're 1-15 or 2-14 or 3-13. In fact, he does care. He doesn't want them to be 3-13. 2-14 is one thing, but 1-15 or 2-14 is acceptable right now because that's the long picture of this. It doesn't mean the owner wants him to lose. It means the owner sees what we all see too. And so I believe it's like, listen, they're playing hard. They don't have they're undermanned. There are issues here, so much so that even when they coach well and play well, they still lose. I'm not going to go give us a one-game bump. I just don't see the smarts in that. And I know that sounds like, hey, the owner's rooting for you to lose. No, I just think it's kind of the big picture thing is like, why make a move with the coaching staff now? And I'll add one more thing, and I do believe this is part of it. I think COVID-19, especially right now, I mean, look what we're seeing with a game today and all the things to wrestle with. I mean, Doug Marrone, I think, has handled that stuff pretty well. I don't know. I'm internally, I'm not sure how he's done versus Baltimore or versus Tennessee. But the Jags haven't had major issues, and they've adapted well, and they've seemingly been ready to play. And I think that's part of it right now. Now, that's not going to save your job, but because we did wonder that, I don't think that's saving anybody's job. You know, we wondered that at the outset. It's not going to be an excuse. But I do think right now it's like, well, why put somebody else in a position where then you could kind of mess some of the protocols up, make a misstep here or there, and then become even more of a laughing stock of the league or an embarrassment if you screw something up. I do think that might factor into it. I don't know. I think you add up all those things, and it's like, yeah, he's not making a move. Like, he's just not going to pull the trigger on Doug Marrone. But I do think that adds some – sure, did the Lions play a role here? Maybe. But, again, you can't talk to GMs until, like, week 17, I think it is. You can't talk to candidates. So is it really that much of a head start? You could have done that with Dave Caldwell still in the building. Yeah. You know, whatever head start you're going to get. I really believe, and again, I don't know if Shad Khan would ever even share this, but I believe there's some significance to him having the record of 10 straight losses in a single season, and somebody's going to pay for that. And we blame somebody on Sunday afternoon. And again, I've shared with this before. What I don't know, I know they met Saturday and had a very cordial dinner or meeting or whatever. And Dave Caldwell knew Saturday night that he was done. What I don't know for sure is if they won the game, would he have stayed for another week?
Yeah.
I think he would have been done either way. So that indicates more maybe that it wasn't the losing streak, and maybe it's more the head start. We want the timing. So we want everybody to know this job's going to be open. And so maybe it doesn't indicate the losing streak like I'm saying. I just feel like, listen, Shad knew that going into that game, they were underdogs at home and probably going to lose, and it was going to be 10 in a row. Add that up with the Detroit opening that happened. On top of the other two openings, this was the time to do it. Again, we're guessing, but that's why I think they made the move. And also one more thing to answer my original question, which this fella in the fansided.com article said that he thought it was bad of the organization to do. I didn't see, there wasn't anything that getting fired 5 weeks to go with the season, Dave Caldwell, but not Doug Marrone. I didn't look at that in bad taste. Like, I didn't think the organization did Caldwell wrong. They gave him plenty of time, man. And I talked to Caldwell over the weekend. He didn't take it that way, at least in conversation with me.
If the past 3 games here, because let's be honest, the past 3 games, the Jaguars have been somewhat competitive, right? There's been chances in the past 3 games for the Jaguars to win those games. Let's say that the past 3 games were all blowouts, embarrassing losses, not even competitive games. Do you think it would have been different from Shad Khan's perspective of who he let go in terms of Doug Marrone over Dave Caldwell? Like, do you think these last 3 games and the way these games have went down had anything to do with Doug Marrone maintaining his job?
Not really, but I'll give you a little bit of it. I think I do think the fact that they are noticeably playing hard, like not laying down. I think you watch the Dallas Cowboys at times. I think you watch Chicago at times. I think you watch, look what Chicago's embarrassing right now. They have guys on Twitter saying this is embarrassing. They're outspoken about it. I think, I don't know about the Philly situation. I think they're playing hard in Philly. They're just not. So I think it's noticeable that this young football team is playing hard. And I think you have to think about the players, too. It's a young football team that's already going through a lot. How much scar tissue are you going to add to them? You know, you take the GM out of it, it doesn't mean anything to the players. Yeah. You take the coach out of it, it does mean something to players. So I do think that their efforts in the close nature of the games probably helped Doug a little bit. But again, I'm going to go back to, I think the protocol, the COVID world that we're living in might have had a little something to do with it, maybe the same amount. But I think really, if I'm going to put a percentage on it, I'd say 65% of this decision is he doesn't believe in it. He does not believe in changing coaches in the middle of the season. He hasn't done it. And he didn't do it with Mularkey. He didn't do it with Gus. And he's not doing it with Marrone. And so I think he set the track record to say, hey, maybe if there's 2 games left in the season, maybe, but I don't want to do it in the middle of the season. I don't believe in it. And so I think that's the main reason why I didn't make a change with Doug.
The more I start seeing the decisions around this franchise and what's transpiring and kind of some of the moves that have been met, I agree with you when I think that Shad Khan knows what's at stake right now in terms of getting the top pick or the second pick. Right?
Because can't be blind to it.
No, you can't be blind to it. But you know how I feel about it, right? Now, I get the other side for sure. And I get the other side of the fans that want this team to tank. I get the other side where the fans want to get Justin Fields, or even better, it could be Trevor Lawrence if they get the first pick. But obviously the Jets probably have other ideas with that. But, like, I just asked you the question. Did these last 3 games have anything to do with Doug Marrone maintaining his job? And I mean, you make arguments and say yes or no. At the end of the day, Doug Marrone's still here, and he's still probably going to coach these guys and try to make them competitive. But then when you make roster moves like, all right, well, Gardner Minshew's back healthy, but now we have Mike Glennon being the starting quarterback. That tells me right there that, well, is winning really a priority? Like, is winning really on the realm of, all right, well, it's going to help you keep your job, or you have my attention with how hard you're playing? Because to me, it doesn't. Because to me, you can sit here and break down the stats this year and say, well, Mike Glennon, he had one really good game and Minshew's been struggling. That's fine. But then I can also sit here and say, going forward, who's going to be the quarterback here in Jacksonville? If it's Mike Glennon, then we got some serious problems at the backup quarterback position. It's going to be Gardner Minshew.
Here's my read on Doug Marrone, okay? And I think it's a very fair question. It's something that I've talked about for the last month. Again, we had this whole Luton situation too, and I just don't understand that starting, if you think your best chance to win is starting Luton, I don't get it. If you think keeping Luton in the second half against the Pittsburgh Steelers down 2 touchdowns is your best chance to win, I don't get it. I don't think you're trying to win in these spots. I don't think those are actions that show me that you're trying to win. I do think you have a better chance to win with Gardner Minshew as the quarterback of this football team. He has more wins than any of these other cats do over the last couple of years in a Jags uniform. I make the one exception with Glennon here. And I said this immediately after on the postgame show last week, and I said it all week so far. I'm going to remain consistent. I don't get all the stuff going on around Gardner Minshew. I picked them to beat the Browns last week because I thought Minshew was going to play on Sunday early in the week. And obviously that didn't transpire. And we knew midweek it wasn't transpiring, but I kept my pick anyway. I believe Minshew gives you the best chance to win. I believe Minshew should be playing most of the time. I believe in this instance, Glennon did such a nice job coming in there and playing. I think he earned the opportunity to play again against Minnesota. I really do. And by the way, I would say the same thing about Luton. Like Luton against Houston, I would say he earned the I still think Glennon gave you the best chance to win against Green Bay. But I think
we know what we had with Luton, though, but we didn't know what we had at the time with Luton.
No, but Luton played against Houston, had 300 yards, had a nice game. Yeah. And you know what I said? He's earned the opportunity to play again. Yeah. He really has. Like, I would say that again, even though I would sit here and tell you the same thing, where I think Minshew or Glennon give you a better chance to win. And so here's my take on Doug. And Doug's tough to figure out sometimes. But I believe what we saw happen last year with Tom Coughlin in the building midway through, and this separation from Tom because of his issue with players, and really more the players' issue with him, meaning Tom. I think we saw this huge separation between Marrone and Coughlin in the building. So much so that Marrone would, on the podium, say, ask the guy down the hallway, if you remember. So at that moment, and Doug may have always been like this, in fairness to Doug, but I didn't sense it as much as I sensed it then. Doug did this separation from Tom to say, hey, I've been a player before. I respect the heck out of you guys. I believe in you guys. There's a loyalty I have to the player. So much so that we started asking, is Doug a player's coach now? Yeah. Right? We never think that. We never said that in 2017. Is Doug a player's coach? Well, you know what? Either he always had been or he's morphed into one. And so I believe bigger than his job right now, saving his ass, if you will, is the loyalty to the player. And so I think it matters to him. And that's why I criticized him so much last week for keeping Luton in the game against the Steelers, because all those guys busting their butt for you, that didn't give them a chance to win. I think that's why Glennon's playing, though. I think Glennon is, in his eyes, to a player, like if you go out and you play a game, right? Yeah. Austin Lane, defensive end, and you have a 3-sack game. Yeah. And you don't get to play many snaps the next week. That kind of ticks you off and sends a message to the rest of the team. It does, but it depends who I'm replacing, though, Brent. Like, fair. If I'm replacing, Josh Allen, well, it's like, well, then Josh, you earned, even if he's having a bad season, he's still earned his stripes. Fair enough, but what if you're replacing DeJuan Smoot? Well, then that's up for debate, obviously. Okay, well, be honest with you. Gardner Minshew's more DeJuan Smoot than he is Josh Allen.
Yeah, he's more Dwan Smoot. Yeah,
So my point is, and there's something else going on here with Minshew to begin with.
Listen,
right? We've
maybe
all
there's
said that.
maybe there's inner rumblings. Maybe there's
a doghouse. He's in the doghouse.
Sure.
There's no doubt he's in the doghouse.
Exactly.
So my point is to Mike Glenn. I think there's a loyalty from Doug right now to the players in the locker room, and I think that's first and foremost to him in his mind. And I believe because of the doghouse nature of the Minshew stuff and the way Glennon played, I think that's why he made the move to stick with Glennon this week, because of his loyalty to the players. Said, hey, we needed you. We asked you to play, and you did a great job. You did a really good job. I think you've earned the opportunity to play again. I think we're seeing Doug be loyal to the locker room more than loyal to his own job, more than loyal to the owner, more than loyal to anybody else. I feel like he's being loyal to the locker room. And that dates back, in my opinion, all the way to the middle of last year.
Listen, but if I'm Doug Marrone, and I get the whole loyalty thing, I get, letting go of the guys that aren't, quote-unquote, buying in and having your guys in that locker room, that's fine. But if I'm Doug Marrone right now in Jacksonville, I feel like I'm on my swan song, right? Like, this is the last goal for me here in this city. So to me, winning should be the top priority. Okay, now when management lets go of Dave Caldwell, that shows me that you're planning for the future. When you have constant kicking problems and you bring in a guy who's never kicked it before a couple weeks ago in the NFL, that shows me that you're kind of planning for the future. You're not really concerned about winning right now. So that's fine. But then if you're Doug Marrone and you get in there on your microphone and you tell me, we're going to win games, we think Mike Glenn gives us the best chance to win, I'm going to sit here and say absolutely not, because I can show you the numbers, I can show you the analytics, I can show you past history if I really have to, and I can show that Gardner Minshew gives you the best chance to win over Mike Glennon. And then I can also say, in the future, if you were to trade away Gardner Minshew, could you do it? Maybe. You might get a 5th-round pick from him. You might get a 4th-round pick from him. There could be a desperate team out there. I mean, if you're giving up a 5th-round pick for Joshua Dobbs, I think Minshew could at least net a 5th-round pick or a 4th-round pick. Is anybody going to trade for Mike Glennon? Absolutely not. No. And do you know why? Because there's no demand for Mike Glennon. There's no intrigue for Mike Glennon. We know what Mike Glennon is right now. Now, we have a pretty good idea of what Gardner Minshew is going forward, but I still think he's the better quarterback. So to me, if you truly are planning for the present, then put Minshew in, because I feel like he's the better quarterback. If you're planning for the future, well, you expect Minshew to be the backup quarterback going forward, then why not play him? Why not get him more reps? Because he's going to be here next year for sure, unless you trade him away. Mike Glennon, probably not.
Yeah. Listen, I think it's a valid argument if you want Minshew in. I've made the argument for the last few weeks.
Yeah.
I think there is something else going on. I don't know specifics. This is a feel thing. This doesn't add up. We've been saying this for 6 weeks. Can't wait to see the book on this chapter of it.
Yeah.
Because I also think Doug's got a Bronx pissiness in him. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hey, you guys screw me over or screw this team over, you're in the doghouse, man.
Yeah.
And by the way,
and that's what it is.
And it's unfair to say that is specifically Gardner, but it could definitely have been his agent. And his agent for putting that out there and saying he's been playing hurt, or if it was Gardner who hid the injury, whatever it was, something went awry in there. And now we're seeing a guy that played through something significant for 3 weeks, but hasn't been able to get on the field now in the last 6 weeks.
I think at the end of the day, I think Doug Marrone has lost trust in Gardner Minshew.
Maybe. That's a trust thing. Again, I think, and I'm not saying just Doug would have lost the trust in him. It might be Jay Gruden.
It could be his teammates.
They have Ben McAdoo, Jay Gruden. These got all former head coaches, and they might all be like, screw that, man. Mm-hmm. No, we're going with Glennon. You know? I mean, they might be all on board.
I get that, man. But the problem is that those guys might not be here next year.
I get it.
We can expect Minshew to be here next year in some sort of capacity. Yeah. So play him then.
Yeah, but the owner might not be saying, hey, guys, play Minshew. You know why? Because we're on track to be the number 2 overall pick.
I got that too.
You know what I mean?
I hear you there.
There's a lot going on here that could be interpreted that way, whether you like it or not. And I'm not trying to make accusations. I'm just saying this open for interpretation in Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. No doubt. The way this thing is unfolded is open for interpretation. All right, more to come. On the GM, I got a couple names for you. You like them or not? Plus, we got a football game in like 15 minutes. It's next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690. Sunny today, the afternoon high 58, dropping into the upper 30s, but staying above freezing tonight. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 at Fox 30. Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Just in time for the holidays. Save up to 40% on everything store-wide at Beard's Diamonds.
As the seasons change, there's one thing that never changes: the importance of clean drinking water. A Kinetico system from CGC Water removes up to 99% of contaminants. Now that's clean, and that's also why our family has a Kinetico system from CGC Water. Yours can too. Right now, CGC Water is offering a free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier Softener. Kinetico Premier Softeners are non-electric and have twin tanks, making them super efficient, saving you money. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Schedule your free water test today and get peace of mind knowing your family's water is safe water. CGC is still taking extra precautions with in-home visits and continuing to follow CDC guidelines. Remember, this is a limited time offer, a free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier Softener. Financing available with approved credit. Just call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Serving Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia, CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Kinetico dealer.
Why call a professional if you're only going to get a half solution? That's my philosophy. You called me to truly fix your problems like, boom. Fixed and fixed right. So when Griffin Service offered full service drain clearing, I insisted we take that approach. And for drains, it's not really about busting the clog. Sure, we'll do that better than anyone. But honestly, most Jake with a snake chuck in a truck plumbers can bust a clog. Professional quality drain clearing is really about taking an out of control situation and putting you, the client, back in control. I'm talking about transparency, with upfront pricing and camera work included in the price, so you know that the problem was fixed and fixed right. Because on the off chance you've got a bigger problem than clog busting can solve, you'll want to know you're dealing with a plumber you can trust, who has all the equipment to fix problems properly and guarantee the work. So call the plumbers to do it right at
GriffinService.com.
License number 1250697.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
Worthless warranties, slimy salespeople, shady subcontractors. It's no wonder people don't trust most roofing companies. At All Pro Roofing and Consulting LLC, we didn't trust them either. That's why we started our own roofing company. With more than 25 years of experience, we offer industry-leading warranties, simple, fair financing, and no subcontractors. Residential, commercial, even multifamily properties. At All Pro Roofing and Consulting, we've got you covered. Learn more at allproroofingllc.com.
For more than 25 years, the potential for health improvement is seen with each patient that walks through our doors. Healthcare decisions don't have to be confusing. Make Island Doctors your medical practice.
My husband and I have been coming to Island Doctors for approximately 10 years, and we have been very happy with them, and we trust them.
Call us today and schedule a tour of one of our locations near you and take a look at our best wellness program, and welcome home.
Call 1-877-434-4676 or visit islanddoctors.com.
Do you have a passion for sales? Are you known for building strong relationships? Do you love to compete and win? CMG Jacksonville is searching for a talented individual to join our family as a media consultant. This position will require a committed person who will forge great relationships with Jacksonville's business leaders and develop profitable campaigns for advertisers. If your talents are a match, email your resume to jaxjobs@cmg.com. That's JAXJOBS@cmg.com or call 245-8732.
If you're usually listening to ESPN 690 in your car, but your boss has you working from home this week, well, take us with you. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jax. Tell Amazon Echo or Google Home, play ESPN 690, and enjoy all that sweet listening coverage.
Hey, everyone, this is Brett Martineau from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Hope you catch the show Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 10 different platforms. But if you missed the show, you missed this. The Jags have 2 opt-outs. How big are these losses in your opinion?
Lorente McCray is different to me. This is a guy who's going on his 7th season here in the NFL. If you have the honor to wear the C in that locker room, it means that you're a leader. You have some sort of influence on that team.
Subscribe to the podcast and check the show out on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Get the podcast daily. All you have to do is search ESPN 690 in your podcast app.
Brett Martineau.
But we could really take this show off the rails if we wanted to go all like half politics, half sports.
Austin Lane.
I mean, have you been on Twitter lately? Do you want extra $100,000? Do you want a scholarship? Let's go politics when we get back here.
Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Being in it, it's not as bad as it seems or it looks. When you got the lineman just pushing you forward, it makes it kind of easier on your body.
That is James Robinson. Not much of a talker. We have him actually, well, I should say Jaguars had him mic'd up for Jags Wired coming up tonight, 7:30 on Fox 30.
Speaking of mic'd up, you get that laptop mic'd up right now.
I do. And it's funny because James Robinson, during the mic'd up segment, he says a few things, but
yeah,
he also is like, you hear a lot of like crashing of pads, and it's like it's just like 15 seconds of that,
but just silence though
from him, nothing.
Yeah,
like it's just amazing how I love the mic'd up stuff from a running back, especially because you hear the violence, of the popping of pads and everything like that.
Oh yeah.
And then you hear some other guys sometimes, but it's like the coaches that are talking to him, he just does not say much. James Robinson just does not say much, and they actually address it like later on. So it's a good watch anyway, because it's kind of funny to see it that way. Like usually you get a mic'd up guy, you get this guy that's really a chatterbox and is hilarious and fun. It's less than that, but it also gives off this effect of, man, this guy is just such a humble, put your hard hat on guy. And it really punches it home with a mic'd up. It's a fascinating watch. You can see it tonight at 7:30 on Fox 30.
Are you kind of surprised that running backs, and for the most part, I'm kind of putting them in a box right now, but most running backs like aren't crazy or like boisterous or like prima donnas, because that's a grueling position. Like that's a position that you got to be a little sick in the head to play. Like, listen, I think defensive line's crazy. I think running back's even more crazy.
Yeah, I guess, but to me, a lot of the running backs are built like linebackers in that sense, right?
Yeah.
And they both have those kind of collision type of it's that position where you're getting contact all the time. So maybe you talk less because you could get lit up on every play.
I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
For sure.
I don't know. Let's go to the line. Steven's got a call real quick. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. What's up, man?
Hey, not too much, guys. I have a scenario for you guys, and I guess take it as if you guys were the GMs.
Yeah, that would be a smart move around here.
Co-GMs, Brent, let's go.
Yeah, I'm running the show.
And we'll see about that.
Can what kind of players from our team now would you consider re-signing? Like Keelan Cole, DeJuan Smoot actually had a decent year for given the circumstances with the defense. And what position in free agency do you think if you guys were GM, you'd have to look at or attack first? Because whenever we get a new defensive coordinator run the 3-4 like Austin wants, we'd have to beef up that line with young but veteran talent. I mean, because you got guys, 2 guys I like from the Giants, Leonard Williams, Dalvin Tomlinson, Roy Roberts Harris from Chicago, Solomon Thomas is on a contract year. And some of these teams, they're low in cap space. They might not be able to resign some of their good talent.
All right, thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams that don't have the cap space of Jags. There's going to be a lot of guys, that are available, no doubt about it. But okay, we're the GMs. Let's take this. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, but we're also co-GMs, so we're not going to agree on this. You can go first, and I'll follow you up here.
Let me take care of the easier part, in my opinion, and that is I think the easy play here is to add free agents on offense at wide receiver or tight end or running back, okay? So you're not going to do it all because you can do some in the draft. But I don't trust draft picks to deliver immediately. So if I want instant gratification, I'm going to probably look at maybe one of these wide receivers. If it doesn't cost me too much, maybe there is something with a tight end out there that you can add to it. And then a complimentary running back, although the draft is probably the way to go with the running back. And then defensively, I think you're talking about the interior. I think you could mention a guy like Bud Dupree, who's a free agent, 3-4 guy, and if you're willing to go there, which you should be, since you have Josh Allen and now K'Lavon Chaisson, you probably should go all in on the 3-4. Then Bud Dupree might make some sense as well, coming off 3 really good years for the Pittsburgh Steelers, even though he had subpar first 3 years in the league. You're set at linebacker, and you have to add a corner. So those are 5 positions that I'm looking at. Now, what's out there? What is cost effective? I'm not going to sit there and spend my $90 million under the cap in 1 year. The Jags aren't going to the Super Bowl next year, even if they get Justin Fields. But I want to put more around him, and I certainly have to fix this defense via the draft and free agency. So those are my target areas. If I could fill 3 of those spots in free agency, I'd feel pretty good.
Fired. You're absolutely fired. We'll see you later. No, it's not bad. We're kind of on the same page here, where I agree with you that you can't fix everything in the draft, especially right away. And if I'm a GM, I want to make a splash. I want to make a statement. I want to say it was this bad last year. Check out what we're doing this year. So with that being said, my main focus in free agency is the 3 technique or is the interior defensive line, depending on what type of coaches we have. Now, you know how I operate. I want to run a 3-4. So if that's the case, the guys from the Giants, I'm intrigued. I also take a look at a guy by the name of Mike Daniels, who I think he's 32 years old right now, has had a couple injury years, but when he's on, playing Cincinnati right now. Him and Geno Atkins are that 1-2 punch, but Mike Daniels has played kind of like that 3-4 defensive tackle in the past. So I try to go after him as well. That's the number one priority. Is if I'm going to go 3-4, we got to get our interior guys squared away. Just because, once again, you have Josh Allen, you have Chaisson. Now, I get it. People are kind of cold right now on K'Lavon Chaisson. But let's see what the kid's got from a natural position. Let's see what the kid's got from a position that he played in college, and then let's evaluate him from there, right? Maybe he's not going to be the guy. Maybe he will. But let's at least find out. I get what you're saying about Bud Dupree, but once again, and listen, I'm the new GM, so I didn't draft Chaisson. So I'm not tied to him. No. It's not my pick. I don't care if he's a first-round pick or not. But you know how I feel about him. I feel like he's got a great first step. I feel like he's got tools to be successful. So I feel like if I bring in Bud Dupree, well, then Chaisson's got to be the odd man out. And now we're talking about a guy who's a former first-round pick getting, sparing reps here, there, there. Now, I get it. You can never have too many pass rushers, but I don't think this team deserves the luxury yet of just adding pieces here or there for their pass rushing. Like they have a lot more holes to fill, let's just say, like the wide receiver position. So that's how I want to attack it in free agency.
Yeah, I'd also say this. From a re-signing standpoint, there's not a lot here that the Jaguars have to blockbuster go sign to, But I think Keelan Cole on a moderate 2-year, $7 or $8 million deal makes sense to me. Yeah. Very much like a Chris Conley kind of deal, which I even made it richer than the Chris Conley deal. But I would give him that to keep him around and see if you can get what you've gotten. But listen, if Keelan Cole walks, it's not the end of the world either, in my opinion. I think DeJuan Smoot has earned himself a spot in the rotation. I like DeJuan Smoot. I love his energy. I love his motor, and he's had some decent results. Like if you want to go 8 deep on the line, he's a good 8 deep guy, I think.
No, so you're not wrong.
I like Smoot.
But see, the problem with Smoot though is obviously you don't put him outside linebacker. So you'd have to put him at 3-4 defensive end if you choose to go a 3-4.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then he's got to put on some weight.
True.
Simple as that.
Yeah, so he might not be the fit if you were going to go there. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But outside of that, man, I mean, do they even have – what I think is going to be interesting, Norwell's had a really good year. I thought Norwell would clearly be gone. I'm not sure about that anymore. Like, somebody told me recently, playing like at the all-pro kind of level. I don't know. I don't know that. I don't get it enough to know it. But you got plenty of money. You don't need to cut that guy. You don't need to make yourself another hole. And by the way, I think in this whole conversation, as of now, I'm re-signing Cam Robinson. I'm not creating another hole. So I would keep my left side of the line that, by the way, is leading the way for the third leading rusher in the NFL.
No, the offensive line, I'm definitely trying to keep together. Maybe going forward, right guard could be a possibility of switching some things around. Juwan Taylor, for the most part, I think he's really kind of even keeled and maybe even regressed a little bit from last year. He's had some problems.
But he's sticking
that makes
around,
me nervous, but he's sticking around for sure. So if I'm talking about re-signing guys, I think the left side of the offensive line for sure, and then also Keelan Cole.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what the Jaguars do in that sense. They don't have a ton of break-the-bank guys. And I only think they'll end up getting maybe two big-time free agents, even with all their dollars. I think that's what they can afford. So
and also too, listen, I'm not naive. Listen, if I'm the GM, I know tight end is definitely a priority because we really essentially have nothing.
Yeah, it's who do you get? Yep.
You have Tyler Eifert, but listen, I see Hunter Henry here, I see Rob Gronkowski, I see Jared Cook, Greg Olsen, Vance McDonald. I'll be honest with you, none of those guys really do much for me. Now, obviously, Hunter Henry is intriguing, but he's going to come with a very, very high price tag, probably even more than maybe Austin Hooper you got last year or this past year for the Cleveland Browns. So if I'm the GM, priority is to draft a tight end in the draft, and literally the only guy that I would be intrigued by, especially in the first round, is obviously Kyle Pitts.
All right, back to the Minshew and Glennon stuff for right now.
Hey, and last thing too, as a GM. Remember who the guy that I said they should go after last year was? My number one guy that they should sign and bring on this team? You probably don't remember him because he's not really a household name. But remember we kind of
I thought it was a linebacker.
It was a linebacker. Good call.
Buffalo?
Yeah. AJ Klein.
Klein.
He's having a pretty good year.
Is he? Because it's interesting you say that because I remember watching a game. They're like, well, he's been not so. This was earlier in the year.
Sure.
And I think he got off to a slow start there. Is my point because I remember them saying, I hadn't really done that much, but this is it was a good play. It was finally, Buffalo fans will be happy it was a good play. It was like that kind of context.
Yeah.
So he must have been coming on late because, we're not late, but in the middle of the year.
Yeah,
early start wasn't so good.
All I know is that he had 2 sacks against Russell Wilson. He's got 5 sacks total, 2 forced fumbles, and 46 tackles total. So, and listen, he's a linebacker, right? So you take some of those stats out of it. I'm just saying from what I see on film the past couple games, I've watched some Bills footage, he's playing very, very well right now.
All right, well, that's a good sign for him.
Well, congratulations to the Buffalo Bills.
Hey, so maybe you're right. That was just like a feather in your cap as GM. That's
what I was trying to say. It's just add to the resume a little bit. And I can't remember who your guy was.
I don't remember.
Yeah, whatever.
Hey, Glennon Minshew. I think it was First Coast Bubbler that just said. He just said, Glennon is better and anyone with eyes can see that.
Oh, yeah?
Really?
Cool.
Come on now. There's no doubt, right? Glennon is
6-17.
Minshew definitely gives you a better chance to win.
In 30, listen, what do you want me to, he's 6-17. In those games, 38 touchdown passes. Gardner Minshew, 7-12. In those games, 34 touchdown passes. So unless touchdown passes aren't that important anymore, I guess Glennon's better.
And everybody knows it.
What? Do you want me to entertain it or not? No, that's not correct.
See, so again, and so to the point, I'm okay with Doug saying Glennon's a guy this week. But I just do wonder what they're talking about inside the locker room. I just wonder, if you're in that locker room right now and you're in a defensive ends meeting that's virtual probably.
Yeah.
But, or you're in a text chain with your defensive line. It's like, wow, man, they went with Glennon or what's up with Mitch? Are people in the locker room being like, what's up with Minshew? Why isn't he getting back in there?
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, if everyone knows he's the better quarterback than Mike Glennon, then I guess we could expect Gardner Minshew to get cut next year, and then Glennon's going to be the backup quarterback, right? Because he is the better guy. Everybody knows it. Simple as that.
Yeah,
right? That's what's going to happen, right?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought he was a better quarterback. Everybody knows it. So what are we talking about?
I know, but you're not answering the question. Are they talking about it in the locker room?
I just get so flustered. That they have to be. I think they're talking about the locker room.
I don't think they're like hating on Glennon. I think they're probably like, what's up with the Minshew stuff?
Well,
do you think they're asking that question?
Yeah, because like, those players in the locker room, they don't care about the draft picks. They want to win games.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing to be 1-10 right now. So you better believe the most important position on the field between Mike Glennon and Gardner Minshew, there are conversations right now in the locker room happening with like, hey, what's going on right now? Because we just want to win. We don't care about the tanking. We don't care about Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. We just want to win football games.
All right. Steven threw us way off course and made us into GMs, which is problematic. Thanks for all the heads up for the advice.
It felt natural, though.
Now we actually talk about GMs. Like, I got a couple of names. Do you like them or not? That's next on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
Happy Wednesday. I'm Jake Mitchell. Are you ready for some Wednesday afternoon football? The undefeated Steelers take on their division rival, the Ravens, at 3:40 today. This game has been pushed back since Thanksgiving, and the NFL has faced criticism for forcing the Denver Broncos to play without a QB while allowing the Ravens to continue to postpone their game after multiple positive COVID tests. Here's NFLPA Executive Director DeMaurice Smith on what the difference is.
Denver situation was a decision to isolate players who were verified to be high-risk, close contacts. So that's a prevention model. When we move games or we suspend games, or we are making decisions about whether a game is going to be played. That is a situation where we know that there's been an outbreak, and you are not so much in a prevention mode, but you're in a containment mode.
If you're working from home and want to listen to ESPN, tell your smart speaker to play ESPN 690.
Let's say you have ED, male impotence, or maybe you suffer from PE and can't satisfy your partner. If you have either or both of these embarrassing conditions, Prime Men's Medical Center has the solution. Meet Dr. Rabinski, a specialist in men's health.
If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications designed just for you. There's no pain and no surgery. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or prostate issues, not a problem. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, Prime Men's Medical Center has patients lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. You'll see results on your first visit, guaranteed, or your visit is free. And best of all, it's affordable.
For a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians, call 904-206-8105. We guarantee that you'll see results on your first visit, or there's no charge for your consult. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now at 904-206-8105. That's 904-206-8105.
For the ones standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's Daily Fantasy Simplified. It's as simple as over and under. PrizePicks.com or the PrizePicks app is the place that pits you against the numbers. Don't worry about your fantasy lineup or a big injury that might hurt your team. On PrizePicks, you simply select 2, 3, or 4 players and predict if they will go over or under their fantasy projections. It's easy, it's fun, it's one-on-one. You against the numbers. PrizePicks.com or the PrizePicks app. Use the promo code JAX, J-A-X, to get a 100% match on your first deposit. Get started at PrizePicks.com.
Do you know that there are 7 steps that can help to ensure a lifetime of success for your child or grandchild, even though they may have trouble controlling their anger or lack of focus or respect for others? Karate America takes pride in the tens of thousands of children they've impacted. Imagine your child or grandchild showing and earning respect, setting and achieving goals, and making good grades. Visit KarateAmerica.info to see if Karate America's leadership program is a good fit for your child.
The pizza you'll soon be eating contains more than 55 years of tradition. Donato's Pizza started in Columbus, Ohio in 1963 with a commitment to serve delicious, fresh-made premium pizza. Donato's in Jax Beach is still proud to deliver their made-to-order, edge-to-edge goodness right to your door or at their convenient pickup window. Check out their unusually wide variety of options at 904donatos.com. It's no joke when they say they have something for everyone. That's 904donatos.com. Give it a try and see what you think.
The First Coast is booming. With interest rates at historic lows, there has never been a better time to call Brandon Ponsel and his network of local experts at Jags Coastal Homes. You can visit them at jagscoastalhomes.com or call them today at 904-206-9480 and mention ESPN 690 to receive up to $2,500 towards your closing cost. Need to sell? Powered by the unparalleled technology of EXP, Brandon will guarantee the sale of your home in under 60 days, or he'll sell it for free. The First Coast market is on the move. Are you?
It is the home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18, and make it your home course as well. The golf club at Southampton in North St. Johns County, located off County Road 210. It's family-owned and operated. Southampton is a fun course to play, and the golf club at Southampton offers club membership programs starting at just $79. With its elite practice facilities and player-friendly golf course design, it'll be your gateway to a great time with the family or with your buddies. For information on the membership programs, call the golf club at Southampton, 904-287-PLAY. Again, it's 904-287-PLAY.
Advance is helping you get your engine ready for the road this holiday season with the right oil, the right filter, at the right price every day. Get 5 quarts of full synthetic Mobil 1, Valvoline, Castrol Edge, or Pennzoil Platinum with the Mobil 1 oil filter for just $33.99. Plus, this holiday season, get a $25 NBA store gift card and 2 times Speed Perks points instantly with the purchase of 5 quarts of Mobil 1. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mehenti.
I despise analytics. It felt like Kevin Cash lost his ability to feel the game.
Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Zubin. Weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio or streaming live on the ESPN app.
Yeah, they're always programmed. We try to anyway. We just had, some young people in there. Ben, unfortunately, got a little bit dinged up last week. Tyler's been a little bit dinged up. James has been a little bit dinged up. So that hasn't been quite the matchup that we have been able to work that we would typically like to work. I think the more we get going, hopefully Eifert starts to feel better. James starts to feel better with his knee. We can get them more involved in the game. But yeah, you're right. That's something that we need to try to get more into the game plan.
Been saying that around here for a long time, Jay Gruden.
So,
talking about the tight ends. Someday they'll get that room figured out, maybe.
His name's Kyle Pitts, and don't forget it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That would be something. By the way, Gators basketball team's playing right now.
Are they really?
FSU basketball team plays tonight against UNF right here on ESPN 690, so you can hear the Ospreys and the Noles.
Is that at Tallahassee?
It is in Tallahassee. 8 o'clock tip, 7:30 coverage begins right here on ESPN 690.
When you talk about Kyle Pitts, would you spend a top 10 pick on him? And I'm not saying, obviously, the Jaguars aren't going to go number 2 Kyle Pitts here. But I'm saying if you're a team that was picking number 10, you wouldn't go Kyle Pitts.
I have a hard time.
Yeah.
I have a hard time.
Just because what history tells you? Or what are you basing this decision off?
I don't know.
You're GM, Brent. We're GMs right now.
We are GMs right now.
We're GMs right now.
I'm gonna take that back. Although I don't feel like that position is like the running back position where I'd say like I can get a lot more. Although history shows you can get tight ends in 3rd, 5th round. But this guy's different.
Correct.
This guy isn't your prototypical tight end. To me, I classify him more as the way I'm going to use him as a receiver. And so now you're asking me, would I have picked Jerry Jeudy 9th overall last year? Yeah. Maybe I would have. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have sniffed at that if they had done it. Mm-hmm. That'd been fine. So, yeah, I guess if I think he's as good as we think he is, and he's been, and if I think he creates a matchup and he helps my young quarterback that I'm getting as well, and makes me dynamic on offense, I got to say, yeah. I got to say, yeah. Golly, that was a fast
That was quick, man. Well, we start talking GM stuff. Goes by like that.
Well, that's the second time now I've teased GMs and haven't talked about them because we're asking ourselves GM questions.
Yeah, because we're the GMs now.
We are not going to be the GM.
You don't know that. Speak for yourself, Brent. I've been getting some phone calls. I've been getting some interesting emails.
Per sources. Can I put that tweet out there?
I've been getting some interesting text messages from some teams. I really have been.
Yeah, you have been.
I have been.
That is a wild one.
Yeah. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, might have to talk about that.
I don't know.
That is interesting. All right, here's the deal. I promise, next segment, I'm going to give you 2 scenarios.
We'll see.
Do you like them or not? No, not we'll see. We're doing it next segment.
We'll see what's up.
Worthless warranties, slimy salespeople, shady subcontractors. It's no wonder people don't trust most roofing companies. At All Pro Roofing and Consulting LLC, we didn't trust them either. That's why we started our own roofing company. With more than 25 years of experience, we offer industry-leading warranties, simple, fair financing, and no subcontractors. Residential, commercial, even multifamily properties. At All Pro Roofing and Consulting, we've got you covered. Learn more at allproroofingllc.com.
What can you get done in 10 minutes? Run a mile? Maybe. Find a date online for this Friday? Easy. What about listing your home for sale? In 10 minutes? Can't be possible. With the new Instant List tool from Rex, it is. Rex Instant List allows you to value and list your home with an agent in as little as 10 minutes. With the real estate market getting hotter, time is money. Let's get started. Visit sellwithrex.com. Since 2015, Rex has provided sellers with over $25 million in savings and absolutely no sacrifice on service. Have 10 minutes to spare? Visit sellwithrex.com to get started. Or speak to a Rex agent at 833-739-4663. 833-739-4663. That's 833-739-4663. Minimum fee may apply. Rex fully supports the principles of the Fair Housing Act and Equal Opportunity Act.
License number, Florida, CQ1057788.
Hey, does your car still only play CDs? No Bluetooth? No CarPlay? You got an old car, my friend. You know what's better than an old car? A less old car. Get a car or truck that's new to you with a great used car loan from 1-to-1 Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Get pre-approved for a loan and shop at any dealership in town. Get a low rate and get rid of that old car today. Apply online at 1to1fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
For more than 25 years, the potential for health improvement is seen with each patient that walks through our doors. Healthcare decisions don't have to be confusing. Make Island Doctors your medical practice.
My husband and I have been coming to Island Doctors for approximately 10 years, and we have been very happy with them, and we trust them.
Call us today and schedule a tour of one of our locations near you and take a look at our Best Wellness program. And welcome home.
Call 1-877-434-4676 or visit islanddoctors.com.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At Lloyd's Construction and Consulting, we've been celebrating 10 years in business. Over the years, we've constructed thousands of projects in the Northeast Florida region. From commercial to residential, we handle each project with the respect and care it deserves. We look forward to speaking with you about your next construction project. Find out more at lloydsconstruction.net.
Right now, Allstate has almost as many ways to save as there are types of music. Save for being a new customer. Save for driving safely. Save for driving less with pay-per-mile insurance. Visit allstate.com or contact your local agent to get a quote. Find out how much you can save today. Allstate. Now that should be music to your ears.
Not available in every state. Savings based on early signing, discount drive-bys, and mile-wise. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Smoothbrook, Illinois.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Assurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anna Jar and Levine studios. Anna Jar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
Welcome into the show, a name you know. If you've been listening and watching ESPN for a long time, I know you know him. We're going to call him one of the forefathers, if you will, of sports radio, Mike Greenberg.
Thank you. Forefathers is an interesting, that's fascinating. Every day, as I talk to more people, I get older and older. So that's kind of funny.
Listen weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. in your car or stream them. ESPN690.com.
First score of the game, the Steelers lead at 6-0 with the extra point attempt to come. That play by Hayden came just moments after Tyus Bowser intercepted Ben Roethlisberger in the end zone. Ravens running back J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram both out today. The Ravens, though, have no new positive tests. That comes after 10 straight days with at least one. Steelers center Marquise Pouncey goes on the COVID-19 reserve list. LeBron James will sign a 2-year, $85 million contract extension with the NBA champion Lakers. He was asked on the Road Trippin' podcast if the team can repeat.
We can. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, we absolutely can. Like RJ said with the Nets, first of all, it all starts with health.
Yeah.
You have to have some luck. You have to have health.
James's deal now runs through 2023, which would be his 20th NBA season. Michigan pausing football activities until at least Monday. Saturday's game against Maryland is canceled, and it will not be made up.
We're back Thursday reacting to the first Wednesday football game since 2012. Can the Steelers stay unbeaten, or will the Ravens' other Heisman-winning quarterback lead them to a victory? Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, Thursday, 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
I talked to Jay and I spoke to Ben, and obviously we met offensively, remotely, on moving forward. What's the best, who gives us the best chance to win right now today? And so we're going to go with Mike Glennon. So, Mike will go into this next game, and, we just feel like he gives us the best opportunity, and thought he did some really good things last week, and, hopefully we can build on them and move forward.
I wish they would stop saying gives us the best opportunity.
For what?
He doesn't.
For what, though? He didn't say best opportunity to win.
He should have just said he earned the right to play again this week. He played well.
Yeah.
And that would have been fine. But he doesn't give you the best chance to win.
Well,
you can't think that he gives you the best chance to win. You can't. You can't.
Don't misquote him, though. He said he gives us the best opportunity. Now, what that opportunity is,
fair enough.
Could be winning, could be a higher pick. We don't know. He just said he gives us the best opportunity.
Mike Glennon is better than RG3. RG3 with a fumble on the first possession and a pick six on the second possession. Yeah. This is going to be a gimme game, it looks like.
Let's go ahead and get Trace McSorley in there before it gets too late here. Trace McSorley, the young upstart from Penn State. Brent, remember him? We talked to him.
Yeah.
Very, very no-nonsense type dude, Trace McSorley.
I think they can run the offense that they run with RG3. That's why, he's probably more experienced, all that stuff too, but the offense fits him. Kind of like Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I hear you. But McSorley's got some wheels, though, too.
Yeah, I'm not saying he doesn't. I just feel like he's run this similar stuff.
Is he even the backup quarterback? I should probably check that out.
Yeah, I don't even know. But RG3 does not look good right now. This is a big game, too, for the Ravens, man. They're about to fall behind. You might not even make the postseason, which is crazy to think because it felt like they were so good. Lamar Jackson has not played well. Now the bad timing of this going into a huge game. We just saw two terrible interceptions. It's now 6-0 after a missed extra point. Yeah. But on 4th and goal, Ben Roethlisberger threw a terrible interception. It was fine that he threw the interception, but it was like, who are you throwing it to?
Yeah, just closed his eyes and prayed.
Yeah, pretty much. Lobbed it up there. So a couple of some sloppy, ugly, bad play early on in the Steelers-Ravens game.
So that was play football on a Wednesday, Brent, at 3:40. What did you expect? That's what you get.
This is when the freshman team usually plays.
Hey, I was part of those games in high school. I remember those.
I think JV plays on Thursdays.
Yeah, sure.
Freshmen actually might play on Saturday morning now. I don't know when they play, but
I can't remember when we used to play. Yeah,
Wednesday game. Heck, not even the MAC plays on Wednesday, do they?
I don't think so, man.
Hey, just to let you know, too, of course, now I'm getting ticked off because I switched it. I had RG3 on the Prize Picks entry.
Yeah, you did.
Under 14 points.
Would have been a smart move.
To go along with Juju Smith-Schuster over.
Yeah.
Right? So you can play along with us. PrizePicks.com, the Prize Picks app. And you got to do this, okay? Make sure you put in if you sign up, we'd love you to see you sign up, and put in JAX as the promo code.
Yeah.
And you get 100% match of your first deposit. So that's what we're doing. We've been playing along. We're having a blast with it. It's kind of a lot of fun to watch, and especially on a Wednesday afternoon, you got a football game, and so when I went to go put it in, a lot of times the numbers will change.
Yep.
Like as entries are coming in, and so RG3's number changed from 14 to 13.5. I'm like, gosh, that's like nothing.
And you're in.
Like that's like a touchdown run and a touchdown pass, and you basically beat it.
That's money.
And RG3's going to run a little bit too, and so I'm like, all right, I'm switching to over. So now I just went over, and I got a fumble and an interception to start things.
You better take that Trace McSorley over in the second half because I'm not sure how long RG3 is going to be in there at this rate.
Are you put an entry in? What'd you do?
So I got an entry. I got Marquise Brown going with I go overs, man, because you know me. I don't like go unders.
I love the over. I think there's something about our human nature that you want the over.
Yeah,
but I told you
I want
the
a good
unders.
game.
The one thing about the unders is you win for a long time.
I know. I hear you, man. But
maybe not in the end, but for a long time.
So I got Benny Snell going with the over. I got Marquise Brown going with the over, and Gus Edwards going, the running back from the Ravens, with the over as well. And I'll be honest, we got Benny Snell with 3.5 points. So, I mean, not bad.
I'm going to do a live entry for the second half coming up in the show because we'll have the second half.
Let's get it.
So when that happens, I need some
Brent's
help.
going to do this live. I like it. I like it.
So it's PrizePicks.com, the PrizePicks app. Again, enter the promo code JAX, JAX. And if you get on board and sign up, you also next week I just talked to the folks at PrizePicks. We're going to start something after this weekend's game. So starting next weekend's games in the NFL, most likely do like a tournament. So whoever signs up with the promo code, you can, for the next 4 weeks, we keep track of the winning entries.
Yeah.
And keep standings, and you can win some prizes and stuff.
I like it.
So, but you can get signed up for that.
Can we enter in that?
I don't know if we can.
Okay.
We'll have to figure that out.
I have to use those burner accounts or PrizePicks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But anyway, JAX is the promo code. PrizePicks.com, PrizePicks app. Have some fun with it. We'll do that today. You just gave me a look. Did RG3 just fumble again?
No, he's got sacked big.
Okay, sacks don't hurt his numbers.
It's 3rd and 23.
Gosh. Yeah. I thought I actually had a feeling I thought Harbaugh would coach his butt off today.
Sure.
In this game, and maybe that's not going to happen.
Well, hey, he can try to coach as much as he wants, but he can't throw footballs for them. So.
Nah, he can't.
Yeah.
I have by the way, I picked the Ravens to win this game back on, because we do our picks for the fight for the Fedora and TV.
I gotcha, yeah.
And so because it was Thanksgiving week, I put them in on Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know, and so I put my picks in Tuesday, and that was before Glennon was announced over Minshew. Mm-hmm. So I had the Jags winning. I always pick Cowboys and Lions, and I don't even regret it on Thanksgiving Day against those two teams they were playing, and I lost both of those. And but I picked the Ravens to beat the Steelers. I was just like, you know what, this is about time.
Yeah.
Steelers are going to lose. They're not as good as a 10-11-0 team as, it's not the Patriots 2008.
Yeah.
Ravens need this win. And then all the stuff starts happening with COVID, and now they don't play until a week later, and I can't change my pick.
Listen, I'm not going to give you guys a play-by-play this entire game right now, but the Ravens just punted, and I'm not sure who the special teams guy was receiving the ball, drops the ball, Ravens get the ball back on the 10. This is the sloppiest game
I'm trying not to
seen.
react over here because I know
you're like a minute heavy, so we've already warned. He's a minute ahead of us.
This is the sloppiest game. Listen, NFL. These Wednesday day games, you got to stop these because these guys, something's not right. It looks like Space Jam when all the basketball players lost their powers. That's what I'm watching right now. This is slop. This is bad. Go and put Pentatonics on the screen as far as I'm concerned. And I'll just watch them in mute.
Sloppy Steelers Ravens game. Okay, let's get into
GMs?
The GMs.
All right.
I'm going to give you two scenarios. Again, I read this article on fansided.com, and it got me to the Dave Caldwell question, so I appreciate fansided.com for bringing this up. Mm-hmm. The Dave Caldwell question was simply, did the Jags do him wrong by firing him at this time, which I didn't think so at all. Joe says it was in bad taste of the fans to keep him as long as they did. I knew we'd get a little of this. Karen Stockton says, I know ownership wants to lose, but surely Doug's still scrapping for his job, ? If not in Jacksonville, but somewhere else, does Minshew not give Jags a better chance of winning? Unless Shad's told Doug, don't worry, just tank. You'll be here next year, which I can't. He has not told him that.
Careful with that.
There's no way. I also don't know if Doug's getting another job. I saw something today where.
Do you mean as a head coach?
As a head coach.
In some capacity.
Oh, yeah. He'll get a job if he wants it. He's also been a guy that said, listen, I'm not coaching until I'm 70. And Doug's not an old guy yet. But I'm just saying he's made plenty of money. Yeah. If he wants to go hang out with the family and stuff for a little bit, he can. He's going to get paid for next year regardless, even if he does get fired. Mm-hmm. So that was a little bit more toward the Minshew. Minshew gives you the best chance of winning. Scott says he's clearly in the doghouse in terms of Minshew. Mm-hmm. John Tarley says, with a little gif, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn about Caldwell getting fired. 24, no reason. Expletive, the guy that saved his job last year. Mm-hmm. Frisco's bubbler is still all over Mike Glennon. You'd think Glennon went to Wisconsin or is from Wisconsin. Is Glennon from Wisconsin?
Maybe that's Mike Glennon's burner account for as far as we know.
Only reason people are enamored with Minshew is because he looks like a roadie for Leonard Skinner. Glennon might not be as mobile, but has a better arm.
Why are you enamored with Mike Glennon?
I don't know. That's a weird hill to die on.
Such a weird hill. That's the guy, huh?
Jags Girl 904 says, keep them so they lose out. Higher draft pick can mean a better quality GM and coach coming in.
Full tank mode, yeah.
Yeah, tank mode.
We understand that.
All right, so that's about it. Actually, there's a little bit more. Caldwell probably has done his share of midseason firing many a time. Live by the sword, die by the sword. No foul. No, players get cut all the time. When you least expect it, no one is immune, says Nika 989. So anyway, some responses on the Dave Caldwell front.
I like it.
So now let's get some more responses and your thoughts on this. A couple of scenarios. One on fansided.com said, and by the way, they're not the only one, John Dorsey.
Yeah.
And relationship with Eric Bieniemy and bring him in. There's another guy in Kansas City, right? There's the up-and-comer guy that's been on everybody's radar for Kansas City with Bieniemy. And says you can get Bieniemy. I think you have to be careful of this, and I didn't say this crystal clear the other day, and I wanted to. The one thing I would be very cautious of is bringing a GM in here to get a head coach. You want the GM in here to make the right decisions. You have got to believe that the GM is the right guy. And not just because he can come bring his partner over or his buddy over or he has a good relationship. If you want Eric Bieniemy so bad, go pay him $1 gazillion and get him. But match him up with the GM you believe is the best. Do not bring me a GM in Jacksonville just because he can bring the coach over. And it makes no sense to me to do that.
And you're talking about Dorsey, then Borgonzi. Yeah, Mike Borgonzi. Okay, so I'll wait to finish a second. But here's the thing about that, Brent. I agree with you, but I don't agree with you at the exact same time. So it sounds like I'm on the fence right now, but come with me for a second. What was one of my biggest criterias in bringing in a new GM is that you have to have the communication, you have to have the chemistry with the head coach, right? When you talk about a guy like Dorsey, who seems to be like the big sexy name right now, well, he's tied to Patrick Mahomes. Under Glenn Dorsey's name,
John Dorsey.
I'm sorry, John Dorsey, not Glenn Dorsey.
Under John Dorsey, Tiger.
Yeah,
right?
There you go. Good call. Under John Dorsey's name is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, him and Andy Reid didn't gel. All right. So then Dorsey went to Cleveland, and the rest is history.
The story is that Dorsey wanted Mahomes more than Reid wanted Mahomes.
Yeah, that's the story. Now, whether that's true or not, who knows? But that's the way it works sometimes. So, once again, I don't need the sexiest name. I just need two guys that are going to get along and coexist with each other. So, I'll be honest with you. It does seem a little cheap, the fact that if you were to bring in Dorsey and then you were to bring in Borgonzi, well, they have the ultimate trump card and saying, all right, well, come on, Bieniemy, let's go, man, because I know who you are. That does kind of cheapen the thing a little bit. But is that necessarily a bad thing? Because now you have two guys who have experience working together before, and to me, that's how you build the team.
Yeah, it's fine if as long as you're telling me those guys are great at what they do and you believe that.
Yeah.
Do not go get the guy for the reasoning of getting Bieniemy. Listen, I'm on the Bieniemy train too. I like the idea of it. That's great. Mm-hmm. But I don't need you to go get the GM just to get Bieniemy. That's a bad way to make decisions.
Because the GM could still be bad, is what you're saying.
He could be bad, and you still have to pick the players. And if you make mistakes in the first round and make mistakes at quarterback, well then who cares who's coaching the team? I mean, not necessarily, but to a degree. So you got to have this as a good match. And I just don't like the folks that say, get this guy so Bieniemy comes here. I don't like that way of thinking. That can't be the way that you got to get this guy here because he is really good. Yeah. And by the way, he might even bring Bieniemy in. That's the way. As long as you tell it to me like that, I'm okay with the scenario. Yeah. But if you tell it to me the other way, I'm not okay with the scenario. Dorsey, I told you this before. I might give him $5 million just to come pick my quarterback. Mahomes, Mayfield.
But that's the thing, though, Brent. Right? You say Mayfield, but like we're not. And
we're not, but it's still not a miss.
No, well, 1 second though. All right, so I hope John Dorsey comes here because I know John Dorsey. Yeah. I want to get some
weekly on the show.
Yes. I mean, and then obviously
you just promised that.
Yeah.
If John Dorsey comes here, Austin Lane just said he's on the show every week.
Well, he's a former Wisconsin guy. You know what I'm saying?
We saw him at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah,
I saw it. You guys got a bro hug.
Son too. Yeah, and I know his son. I've hung out with his son before. He's from Eau Claire. I've been in the pickle with his son.
Get out of here.
Swear.
John Dorsey.
Sorry, kick the camera.
John Dorsey on ESPN 690 Weekly, brought to you by The Pickle for the folks in Wisconsin.
Enough said. Sells itself. Hey, advertising. You guys are welcome. But listen, I agree with you, Patrick Mahomes. That was the steal of the draft. No one's going to deny that. But Baker Mayfield. Like, remember how that whole thing shook out? Like, Dorsey vouched for Baker Mayfield.
He did.
And, like, he kind of went above and beyond and said, I don't care. Baker Mayfield's going to be our guy. Now, if you look at that draft class, in terms of quarterbacks in the first round, what do you got? You got Lamar Jackson, you got Josh Rosen, you got Josh Allen, and then you got Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. Do you think he made the right decision?
Give me him again.
No problem. We got, obviously, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Josh Rosen. That's in the first round, obviously.
Okay, so you got Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen.
Yeah, those are really the two.
I would say at this point, no.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Lamar Jackson's got an MVP.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen might be trending toward one.
Mm-hmm. That's all I'm trying to,
But at least he didn't pick Rosen or Darnold right now is my point.
True.
The Cleveland Browns right now are having a record that I don't know when the last time they had a record like this. They're 8-3. I understand they're running the ball, that stuff. And listen, I've been critical of Mayfield, but he's still getting the job done right now. It's kind of like the Derek Carr thing. It's like Derek Carr's playing good football now. If you go back to the Bortles draft, they could have had Derek Carr, but you had to live through a Derek Carr. You weren't really convinced Derek Carr was that good to get to this point, and he's now with Gruden, and he's getting the best of him. Like, he's not bad, but he doesn't make me go buy his jersey.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's kind of where I'm at with Mayfield right now. Like, I think the folks in Cleveland are pretty happy they have Mayfield. But I think if you asked them, could they have Lamar Jackson? I don't know. This year, the Ravens have a better team than Cleveland, and Cleveland and Mayfield are beating Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. I mean, hard for me to say that I want Jackson this year.
But let me ask you this, LeBron. Who has the better offensive weapons, Baltimore or Cleveland?
Yeah, but I mean, last year you didn't say Cleveland does. Cleveland has a better running attack.
Correct.
But Lamar Jackson won the MVP because of their running attack.
Sure. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Well, listen, the whole point of me bringing this up was, listen,
I think it's a fair question. It's a great question.
I mean, I get Patrick Mahomes, of course, that was, because no one was talking about Patrick Mahomes. So, obviously a plus for Dorsey there. I'm just saying, are you ready to write him off as the savior, as the guy who drafted Baker Mayfield over Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson? And I'm not sure. Maybe, listen, and I'm not saying he's wrong there. Maybe Baker Mayfield will prove everybody wrong and be the guy going forward. But I'm just saying right now, and maybe they're better situations, whatever the case may be, I think Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are obviously better than Baker Mayfield.
I think the key about it right now for me is, and I understand the ceiling to me for those other guys is better, but the floor for Mayfield hasn't been poor. And in a situation when you pick in those kind of spots and when you take quarterback in the first round, it feels like you can really swing and miss. Although I said yesterday on the show, and I believe this, it's less and less likely you really swing and miss because a lot of guys can play quarterback now. Yeah. They're just better, and the game's adapted to them rather than them adapting to the pro game. And we'll even talk about that a little bit more later. But I just feel like those are two really good picks. For a guy who had two swings at the quarterback, he picked Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a package.
It is.
It's better than Blake Bortles, Nick Foles, and whoever else.
But remember, though, like, Baker Mayfield, he was the number 1 pick. It wasn't like he went out of his way to get Baker. Well, maybe he kind of did, right? Because people were saying Mayfield was probably like the 3rd best quarterback of that class.
He did kind of reach.
So maybe he did. So maybe he did kind of go out of his way a little bit to get Baker Mayfield. But listen, and I'll be honest, I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, I'm not sure if we're sitting here right now and we're talking about John Dorsey, once again, who I'm a fan of. Don't get it twisted. But I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing right now that we're talking about a GM who took Baker Mayfield at the top pick right now. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. You can make cases for each way. Now, Patrick Mahomes, no brainer. Baker Mayfield, I don't know. And you know what, Brent? I don't want I don't knows in the Jacksonville Jaguars. I need home runs.
Yeah. I get it. I think it's a great question. Yeah. I don't know how to answer the question. I would say, yes, you want an MVP. I think it's a no-brainer. Lamar Jackson won MVP. I think Josh Allen might be trending that way. I think both those guys have taken a long time to come around. No, not a long time. Josh Allen's finally coming around to this degree to maybe even be in the conversation with Baker Mayfield. Mayfield is still kind of just sitting there hovering, like, is he going to take that next step? Yeah. They have to decide whether to pick up the option. And now Lamar Jackson's taken – I don't know where his career is going. I don't know if that was a fluky year. I don't know if this is a bad year. I don't know if people have figured him out. I don't know if getting rid of Hayden Hurst and losing some running backs and because of injury have hurt him that much. I don't know because I wasn't a huge Lamar Jackson guy to begin with. And then all of a sudden it was like you had to be because look at him, right? I mean, I'm wrong. We're wrong. Are we really as wrong now after 3 years? I don't know. So that's a tough one. It's a tough one. All right, I want to stay on Dorsey for a moment.
Yeah.
So Dorsey and Bieniemy, like, okay. Like, you can see, it's going to be a hot commodity, folks. I mean, that, or Borgonzi and how about this?
And I'll be honest with you real quick with Borgonzi. I've watched a couple of his interviews. I watched an interview last year right after the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, it was at the Combine, and they're just coming off the Super Bowl victory. And it was an interview talking to him about how his process goes because, keep in mind, when you go to the Super Bowl, that kind of takes the scouting stuff out of it a little bit because now you're prepping for a Super Bowl and you're not prepping for, the draft. I mean, you got to win a Super Bowl. So it was interesting to hear how he's approaching it, working harder, communicating better, being more organized in the terms of, hey, this is a different year for us because we're at the Super Bowl, we won a Super Bowl, and now we're behind schedule. So it was interesting to see him detailed explain why they had to do things differently this year in terms of the draft.
I don't want to put words in your mouth because I don't know if you said it on air or not or off, but you're a little concerned with Dorsey from an organizational standpoint, aren't you?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Because one of the biggest things of why Dorsey probably got or possibly got fired is the fact that Andy Reid is a very organized individual. He's a very analytical, just minds his P's and Q's, all that stuff, very organized. Dorsey, on the other hand, didn't seem to be like that.
A little more freewheeling.
A little more freewheeling, kind of go with your gut a little more. Not to say Reid doesn't go with his gut, but I'm just saying they're two different personalities.
Yeah.
So that's why I was so surprised that the Dorsey Bieniemy package is such a high commodity. I don't know what kind of person Bieniemy is. I've never really talked to the guy before. But I got to think that if he comes from an Andy Reid coaching tree, there's got to be some of that organizational stuff there. There's got to be some of that analytical stuff there, you would think.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I would think. But each guy's his own guy.
True.
You take...
Yeah, I mean, I guess with, Doug Peterson's different than Andy Reid.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, you take some trends at work, but you're not going to copy everything that guy does.
Yeah.
All right, I got a question. One more thing on Dorsey, and then I'll give you a couple different names. But do the Jags need this situation, which isn't just GM head coach? I'll tell you where I'm going next on ESPN 690. 7-6, Ravens lead the Steelers. Go RG3.
Do we know who scored a touchdown?
Yeah, it was Gus Edwards. Yeah.
Like that, baby.
It's good for you. Are we
Great for me.
We splitting the winnings?
No, we're not.
Right.
That's not how it works.
Okay.
Nope.
We'll be back on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690. Sunny today, highs in the upper 50s, dropping into the upper 30s tonight, and partly sunny and warmer tomorrow near 70 degrees. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 at Fox 30. Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Just in time for the holidays. Save up to 40% on everything store-wide at Beard's Diamonds.
Boss, hit the gas! What's going on? You were supposed to check to see if that house had anyone home. Now their porch is on fire.
Boss, I didn't do it. The ding-dong doorbell camera just burst into flames and started melting.
Oh, so it's true. Those things are fire hazards.
Yeah, and now we know another big difference between those cheap ding-dong doorbell cameras and a SafeTouch security system.
Well, yeah, with SafeTouch, homeowners don't have to worry about their video cameras getting hacked.
Or employees spying on customers.
Or bursting into flames.
Uh-oh. Fire department's coming, boss. Time to go.
I'm way ahead of you. By the way, your eyebrows are completely gone.
Oh, well. Maybe it's an improvement.
Just so I know you still got your senses, recite the Crooks Are Us golden rule again.
Stay away from SafeTouch houses. Don't worry. It's burned into my brain.
Crooks know to stay away from SafeTouch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of SafeTouch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call SafeTouch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
For the ones standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner. Offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger. For the ones who get it done.
The pizza you'll soon be eating contains more than 55 years of tradition. Donato's Pizza started in Columbus, Ohio in 1963 with a commitment to serve delicious, fresh-made premium pizza. Donato's in Jax Beach is still proud to deliver their made-to-order, edge-to-edge goodness right to your door or at their convenient pickup window. Check out their unusually wide variety of options at 904donatos.com. It's no joke when they say they have something for everyone. That's 904donatos.com. Give it a try and see what you think.
Appliances may work on your schedule, but they quit on theirs. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we'll get your appliances back up and running in no time at all. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have repaired more than 100,000 appliances over the past 35 years, servicing Jacksonville to St. Augustine and Ponte Vedra with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor, plus a 100% satisfaction guarantee. When your appliances quit, we're ready to get started. For quality repair at a price that's fair, visit AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
ESPN 690 wants you to shop the 904. And by doing that, you keep most of the money and jobs right here on the First Coast. Plus, local businesses give our community its uniqueness and character that makes living on the First Coast so great.
Shop the 904!
I'm Action News Jax Tanika Hughes, and one of the great things about living in Jacksonville is our diverse communities. It's so important that the local stories we cover in our newscasts reflect the people who live here. That's why we've launched Action News Jax Gets Real, to get real on issues like racism, housing challenges, and unequal access to health care. It's having difficult conversations, as well as celebrating people making a difference. This is Action News Jax Gets Real. Real talk, real change.
Over 25 years ago, several Jacksonville families spent their holiday season in a way they least expected, worrying about their child who was fighting cancer. Together, they created the Child Cancer Fund to support other local families who would walk a similar path in the future. Thousands of local families have since benefited from their generosity and from yours. And on behalf of the Child Cancer Fund, we wish you a happy holiday season. To learn more about our programs and give today, visit childcancerfund.org. That's childcancerfund.org.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At Lloyd's Construction and Consulting, we've been celebrating 10 years in business. Over the years, we've constructed thousands of projects in the Northeast Florida region. For commercial to residential, we handle each project with the respect and care it deserves. We look forward to speaking with you about your next construction project. Find out more at lloydsconstruction.net.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need
I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today.
The Max
Max Kellerman Show.
Just because they have Bill Belichick, even without Cam Newton, they're 2 plays away. They're 4-5 right now. They're 2 plays away from being 6-3. They're good.
The Max Kellerman Show, weekdays at 2 Eastern on ESPN Radio. And now, watch exclusively on ESPN Plus.
Austin Lane.
The Rock, out of nowhere, buys the XFL during a pandemic, mind you, goes half in with his ex-wife. So now you're going to business with your ex-wife.
Brent Martineau.
I don't know if that's on the business advice list.
Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
No, I don't think about it. It's the same thing with the Pro Bowl coming in. I didn't think about any of that. The biggest thing for me was to get on the field and to show what I could do and that I could play.
That is James Robinson, Jaguars running back, having a fantastic year. I still think, maybe we said it in passing, right, when we were being our own GMs for this Jags team going in the offseason.
Yeah.
And what we said was, this offensive line has led the way for an undrafted rookie free agent running back who deserves a lot of the credit. This offensive line has led the way to the 3rd most prolific rushing attack by an individual this season, as miserable as the Jags have been. The offensive line, we criticized Doug Marrone. Doug Marrone said, hey, this offensive line is better than you guys think. Mm-hmm. And he was right. They haven't been unbelievable, but nobody's offensive line's unbelievable. That's the thing. Like, everybody forgets that part of the equation. Yep. Now, the thing is, if your quarterback's not unbelievable, there are other quarterbacks that are unbelievable. Most of the time, the great offensive lines don't exist.
Yeah.
And so I think the Jags offensive line has done a pretty nice job, especially given the fact they have 3 different quarterbacks playing this year, not a lot going right, and leading the way for James Robinson. Robinson's done a lot on his own, but he's also had some pretty darn good holes, too.
No, without a doubt. And listen, it's a testament to what we saw last year with this team, right? We went to the wall that says it all a lot. And there was a lot of times last year Leonard Fournette was getting hit in the backfield, right? Like all of a sudden the ball's handed off, he's 2 yards deep, and he's getting hit already. We haven't seen too many times where James Robinson gets his first contact behind the line of scrimmage. And that's a testament to what the offensive line is bringing to the table in terms of their push and in terms of their tenacity.
All right, here's the thing. We're just talking about Dorsey.
Yep.
Do the Jaguars need, we're talking about Dorsey as GM, maybe a Bieniemy, that's what people are linking up to be the head coach. Do the Jaguars need a czar of football?
A czar of football, okay.
Meaning Tom Coughlin's position. The Jags had a bad mix, it seemed like, by the end of it. Yeah. Tom Coughlin, Dave Caldwell, Doug Marrone. Dave Caldwell stuck in the middle. Coughlin and Marrone on the same page, at least to begin with. But again, what do we ask? What do I continuously say? Who was making the decisions? Who's running this? Like, okay, Tom's running it. In 17 and 18, I'm pretty certain Tom's running it, but who's picking Leonard Fournette? Who's to blame for Taven Bryan? Is it Tom? Well, I would say yes, because at the end of the day, he rubber stamped it. But was it Dave and the scout team? Like, I don't think we should ask those questions. I think we should know. And so I don't love the 3-headed monster. But somebody brought up to me, I'm not going to say his name, but I stole the topic, so I'm going to, it was good. It was an interesting note. Okay. When you don't have an owner that is as hands-on as Lurie in Philly and Jerry Jones in Dallas.
But that's pretty rare, though.
And even Kraft. Like, Kraft might feel like he has like a say here or there.
Yeah.
Schad leaves it up. He leaves the business side up to Lamping. Mm-hmm. He leaves the football side up to whoever the football people are. Is it better from a communication standpoint to have 3 people instead of 2?
No. It's to me.
And could Dorsey be the czar?
No, to me, you have to have 2 people. And here's why. Like, I get what you're saying with Robert Kraft and Jerry Jones. They're very hands-on. Well, I know Jerry Jones is. I'm not sure about Robert. I think Robert Kraft's so popular just because of how much success he's had.
Yeah.
Just because the guy wears Air Force One still and he's like 80 years old.
Yeah.
That makes 0 sense. Whatever, though. Do you, man. It's better than Skechers. So, shot at you. So I'm not sure how hands-on that guy is. Obviously, Shad Khan, he's not hands-on. But that's okay. Like, I don't need a GM who's like Jerry Jones who wants the spotlight, who wants the limelight. Like Jerry Jones, I guarantee you, he has a direct influence in that locker room. Hands down. Maybe even more than the GM. I mean, he is GM, obviously, but maybe more than even like Mike McCarthy. Like, he has a direct influence. I don't want my owners to have direct influence in the locker room. I want my owners to take care of contracts, take care of, writing the checks, and that's what I need from my owner. When you bring another guy into the mix, like you called it the czar of football, when you bring another guy into the mix, you're essentially bringing another head coach. Like, to me, yes, Tom Coughlin was brought in here to turn things around. He had obviously an influence on the draft decisions, on the transactions, and obviously maybe on the culture a little bit as well. Shouldn't a head coach have the influence on that? Like, to me, Tom Coughlin, the biggest thing he brought was attitude, right? Mm-hmm. He brought an attitude
and a plan.
He brought in a plan, but the biggest contribution that Tom Coughlin brought to the Jaguars his second time around was the culture change. Now, in 2017, that worked, but it didn't work going forward, and we know what happened after that, right? So when you do that, when you bring in another guy to essentially do the head coach's job, well, now you have another chain of command. You have more communication. And now all of a sudden, sometimes people don't really know where they stand. So I don't want that. I don't need a czar of football. I need a head coach who knows how to build a culture and can cultivate from his players. And I need a GM who can evaluate the proper talent.
Yeah. I don't like the idea of putting a three-headed monster in there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, somebody said to me, and it made me think a little bit, if you have the right mix, do you almost need that in Jacksonville? I still don't understand why just the GM can't report to the owner and be the spokesperson and all that stuff. Or if it's a big enough head coach where it's like Dabo Swinney or someone who's going to run their own show, maybe then that's it too. I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying that just as an example. But it was an interesting point. And in a world of communication where it's already difficult, in a spot where in Jacksonville where I think the communication has not been good, I don't know if I add another layer. Mm-hmm. I just think I'd avoid that other layer. But it'd be an interesting advisory role from a guy like Dorsey, guy that can pick the quarterback. I mean, it's maybe it is okay in that situation. I don't know, but I don't know if I'd be turned off by it given Dorsey's history at picking in this prime spot that the Jaguars have. That's one way to look at it. I'll give you another okay, now let's try another one. Mm-hmm. So we don't hate the Dorsey. You don't love it, but you don't hate the Dorsey be enemy or Bergonzi be enemy, right?
No,
if that happened tomorrow, you'd be like, I can't believe that happened?
No, listen, I'm not mad at it at all because at the end of the day, one of my top criterias is the chemistry, is the relationship between a GM and the head coach. And obviously, if Dorsey or what's the other guy's name? Bergonzi. I'm sorry. Bergonzi comes in. At least there is some sort of familiarity with the head coach. Now, whether or not they get along, that could remain to be seen. But I like that a lot better than two strangers who don't really know each other being expected to get along.
Okay,
so I like it.
So this is another one that I've seen out there, okay? And this is bad. Listen, I'm not reinventing the wheel here, folks. It's just that I'm starting to read more on it. And I'll tell you, this guy has been fascinating to me. And I like this one.
Okay.
Right now, like on the hot, cold list, this guy's on my hot list. And it's the Indianapolis Colts' Ed Dodds. Okay? And listen, again, I'm not throwing a name out there. It's like, wait until you hear the guy I have. No, this guy was like, he turned down the Cleveland GM interview last year. Mm-hmm. Ballard, I think, has been really good in Indianapolis. Now, listen, they haven't won anything big yet, okay? But I like the way he's pieced together his team. Actually, my criticism of Ballard is I think they need to spend more money. They have too much money at this stage of it. If I'm going to get Phillip Rivers, I want more.
Yeah,
I'm spending some of that free agent money, and they haven't. So they are going to be good for a bit if they can figure out the QB position, which they invested in at last year's draft behind Rivers, but we'll see if they can figure it out. If they're right on that, then they might be really set up nicely in the AFC South for years to come. Because they have a lot of talent, and they've rebuilt their defense, which is something Indianapolis is never known for.
Yeah.
They have defensive players, but never good defense, and they're a good defense. I mean, right now they're one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Yeah, and a lot of that has to do with the free agent signing of Justin Houston. I mean, that was a good call, a guy who some teams, I think, thought was on the back nine of his career. They give Justin Houston a chance. Now he's a captain of that team. He's a good defensive lineman as well.
Okay, so I've read up on Dodds because I'm reading up on all of them now.
Doing your homework, I like it.
I really like that. I like the idea of it. Okay. I think he's put in work in Seattle. I like the pedigree there, and he put in a lot of work in Seattle. Like, it wasn't like he was there for 2 years. I think he was there for a decade, man.
What was his title in Seattle again? He was like
he climbed the ladder.
Yeah, but he became like the assistant to
Schneider.
Schneider, yeah.
And Schneider's not a bad guy to be behind, right?
Yeah.
So I like the pedigree, and that's what we have to go on. We've been very honest with that. We don't know these guys. You know, they don't have wins and losses next to their names.
Yeah.
So, or stats. But, you know, from what you read, from what you see, and the pedigree of it, the Dodds guy, and I like the young energy guy, right? And Ballard brings that to Indianapolis, and Dodds is not some old vet guy. And no offense to Dorsey. I mean, if that's which way they go, he's actually an energy guy, but a bit older. I like Dodds. And then there was rumors last year. Now, who knows if this would be the case this year, that Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator of San Francisco, used to be the linebackers coach here in Jacksonville, who is on a meteoric rise. Like, he is going to get interviews, probably gets a job this year in some place. So it's not like Jacksonville would be the only one. Do you like that combo?
Yeah.
Dodds and Saleh. And I don't know if that'd be the case, but I just gave you another one. How about this one? Dodds and Saleh. I'll tell you what, I like that one even more, I believe, than Bieniemy and Borgonzi.
But here's the question, though, and you know how it's going to operate. Like, the times are a-changing, Brent, right? And the hot pickups right now, where the league is going, it's offensive-minded guys, right? It's quarterback-friendly head coaches. Saleh is obviously not that. He's more of a defensive-minded guy. Now, I can point to Sean McDermott. I can point to Bill Belichick, obviously. I think Harbaugh is definitely more of a special teams guy, but he still senses like he's got a little bit of defensive-ness to him, let's just say. So I can give you examples of times you brought in defensive guys that it's worked. Pete Carroll, but
that's a little older.
But are you kind of bucking the trend a little bit, though? And are you going against where the league's going by going that route?
Yeah, you are. It's okay if you get a nice offensive coordinator. Like, I mean,
Sure.
get the guy that handles the offense. I'm not pigeonholing myself to offensive guy if I can create a guy who is going to build a winner culture-wise and everything else, and has the plan and has the camaraderie with the GM and all that stuff. Like, if you can find me the match, and Saleh, I know Saleh a little bit, and Saleh, like, I'm not saying this because I know him a little bit. Like, I don't even know him that well. I've just been around him a little bit, and I think this guy has a chance to be a rock star now. I mean, I think he's got a chance to be a star as a coach, and so I don't mind the idea of that, and go get me a good offensive coordinator to go along. Listen, I sat here and said defense was dead in the NFL 2 months ago. Now we're looking at games that look like this. It's 9-7. Now I understand half their team's out. But when you get to this time of year, defense still does matter. That's what it's showcasing me. Every game was over 30 points in the first 6 weeks of the year. Now you can't find a game over 30 points. It's just not happening because that's November, December football. So defense, I was wrong. Defense isn't dead in the NFL. You can still argue it in college a little bit, but not in the NFL, and it's still valuable and important. And the Jaguars would have, I don't know, 4 more wins if they could play defense average.
Let me ask you this. With Saleh, like, I get it. If you brought him in, it would definitely be a culture move more than anything. Like, yeah, he'd bring a good defense in, maybe a good scheme, a good philosophy. But you're doing it to turn things around in that locker room, right? You're taking the youngest franchise, or the young.
Ron
I think
Rivera,
like the
too.
trend
He's doing a great
where, and that's kind of my point. Like, do you buy in to the Ron Rivera comparison?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay. I don't know if I know Saleh enough of what he's going to be as a head coach. I know he's been innovative enough in San Francisco. He's also been he's been around defenses that have been loaded with players.
Yeah.
Now let's be honest. I mean, Jacksonville, when he was here, they were loaded with good players. San Francisco has been loaded with good players. But I think he's seen. It's been an interesting, probably, experience for him working with Gus and then going to Shanahan. 2 totally different personality guys. And probably being around Lynch and that Sanford experience and kind of the lows and the highs.
Yeah.
And I think you've got to know a little bit of both in this profession. I don't hate it. And by the way, I kind of like Dodds more. Like, so if Dodds wants to bring his own coach and whatever that is, I like this guy from what I read about some of the GM names. And again, we say this with full disclosure that we have no idea how good these guys are. But if you're going after that new blood, which I feel like I like the new blood better than the old guard.
Yeah.
Dodds does more for me than maybe even Borgonzi from Kansas City or whoever from Baltimore, whoever from Pittsburgh that I've read about so far.
Yeah.
Now, we're only a few days into this process.
No,
so
for
I
sure.
might change my mind.
I'm going to say about this, though, like, listen, I get that it's very cliche to pick from winning organizations right now, like the Chiefs, like the Patriots, but I will say this about the Chiefs. They've always had their kind of guy that they want to go after, right? Whether you're a GM or a scout and assistant, like there's a guy that fits the mold of the Kansas City Chiefs, and I like that, right? Like there's Kansas City Chiefs guys out there that some people might think like, oh, you're taking them too high, but the Chiefs don't care. So I like the fact that they have an identity of the type of guys they want to bring in. That's what Jacksonville needs. That's why I lean more towards the Dorsey route, towards the Chiefs route, just because they've been there and they know what the Chiefs guys look like.
It's interesting, too, with Dodds that he can be successful after being in Seattle and Indianapolis.
That's
I don't
true,
see those
yeah.
as two lined-up organizations, but now he's had success in both places, which is interesting to me because the Jags, we found out, are not the Seattle Seahawks.
No.
Gus tried to bring that, and they weren't.
Yep.
And by the way, they weren't the Atlanta Falcons either. Dave Caldwell tried to bring that.
Yeah.
So let's try another team.
Let's get it.
We'll be back. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Giving updates 9 to 7. Steelers over the Ravens.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
Happy Wednesday. I'm Jake Mitchell. Are you ready for some Wednesday afternoon football? The undefeated Steelers take on their division rival, the Ravens, at 3:40 today. This game has been pushed back since Thanksgiving, and the NFL has faced criticism for forcing the Denver Broncos to play without a QB while allowing the Ravens to continue to postpone their game after multiple positive COVID tests. Here's NFLPA Executive Director DeMaurice Smith on what the difference is.
Denver situation was a decision to isolate players who were verified to be high-risk, close contacts. So that's a prevention model. When we move games or we suspend games, or we are making decisions about whether a game is going to be played. That is a situation where we know that there's been an outbreak, and you are not so much in a prevention mode, but you're in a containment mode.
If you're working from home and want to listen to ESPN, tell your smart speaker to play ESPN 690.
The Max Kellerman Show.
Goff is dependent upon surroundings. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not someone like that. Boy, this guy's going to be great no matter where he is. He's not quite that, right? But we've seen Goff deep into a season a couple years ago on the kind of outskirts through the Rams Super Bowl season. Remember that?
The Max Kellerman Show. Weekday afternoons at 2 Eastern on ESPN Radio, your smart speaker, or wherever you stream your audio.
Are you ready for it? Come on, you know what I'm talking about. Toyotathon is on. Yes, there's only one sale big enough to be called Toyotathon, and it's going on right now at Arlington Toyota. You can score amazing Toyotathon lease deals that'll put that new Toyota in your driveway today. So if you've been eyeing a sporty new 2021 Corolla LE, don't just eye it, drive it, and get a low Toyotathon lease for just $119 a month at Arlington. Or maybe it's a 2021 RAV4. Maybe that's your style. You're going to save on that too, because right now at Arlington, you can lease a new 2021 RAV4 for just $204 a month. Get to Arlington for Toyotathon savings today, where you can lease a new 2020 Camry for as low as $162 a month. And with every new vehicle purchased from Arlington, you get a lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles. Plus, you can buy with total peace of mind, thanks to Arlington's 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. Toyotathon is on, so don't wait. Shop safely in person at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/Toyotathon for full offer details.
Worthless warranties, slimy salespeople, shady subcontractors. It's no wonder people don't trust most roofing companies. At All Pro Roofing and Consulting LLC, we didn't trust them either. That's why we started our own roofing company. With more than 25 years of experience, we offer industry-leading warranties, simple, fair financing, and no subcontractors. Residential, commercial, even multifamily properties. At All Pro Roofing and Consulting, we've got you covered. Learn more at allproroofingllc.com.
Nothing is certain except death and taxes. And your appliance is breaking down as soon as they're out of warranty. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we can't help with the first two, but we've got the third one covered. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have been repairing appliances for more than 35 years, with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. For quality repair at a price that's fair, trust Atlantic Coast Appliance. AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
That's AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need to be involved in the community. Then you need to...
Whoa. I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions, your local marketing team putting you at the top of mind. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today and let us take your business to the next level. Local Solutions, powered by Cox Media Group. Marketing solved.
For more than 25 years, the potential for health improvement is seen with each patient that walks through our doors. Healthcare decisions don't have to be confusing. Make Island Doctors your medical practice.
My husband and I have been coming to Island Doctors for approximately 10 years, and we have been very happy with them, and we trust them.
Call us today and schedule a tour of one of our locations near you and take a look at our best wellness program. And welcome home.
Call 1-877-434-4676 or visit islanddoctors.com.
The ultimate Christmas tradition is heading home for the holidays. Don't miss Moscow Ballet's digital stream premiere of The Great Russian Nutcracker, Saturday, December 19th. Enjoy the full-length performance of Moscow Ballet's Great Russian Nutcracker as captured on stage. Save 15% on tickets today with promo code HEART. That's HEART at MoscowBallet.com. Get up close with online meet and party packages at MoscowBallet.com.
For the ones standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If I'm not commuting anymore, where do I really want to live?
While you handle life's questions, Merrill Guided Investing helps you manage your portfolio and invest for your next move with the option to work with an advisor at a low cost and minimum. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor, member SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
What's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jax. Your smart speaker brings ESPN 690 into your home office. All you got to do is say Amazon Echo, Google Home, play ESPN 690, and enjoy that succulent sports coverage.
Yeah, I think looking back at the game, there was a lot of good things. Made some good throws, and then a few throws ahead back. You know, obviously you look at those two two-point conversions, and those could have been difference makers in the game. So both plays, wish you could have bad, but that's part of the NFL. You got to move on to the next week. As far as the conversation, there really wasn't much. Dobby just told me we're going with you again this week. It was left at that. As far as week to week, I mean, I understand it. It's a performance-based industry, and all of us have shown flashes, and it's about consistency, and I get it.
That's Mike Glennon, Jags quarterback, coming up this week against Minnesota. Adam Thielen, by the way, back for the Vikings off the COVID-19 list.
Yeah.
Vikings are a weird team.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about it a little bit more as the week goes along, but just a strange team.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I got Dalvin Cook's having an unbelievable year.
Yeah.
Again, you look at the numbers on Cousins, they're okay.
Them and the Michigan State Spartans are the two football teams this year that I cannot figure out to save my life, honestly.
How about that, too? Michigan now cancels against Maryland.
Yeah.
So what we talked about yesterday, closer to coming to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you fall? I mean, Kirk Herbstreit got himself in trouble a little bit last night. You see that?
Saw that apology, yeah.
But is he wrong? And not is he wrong. It doesn't exist. Not necessarily waving the white flag. See, I don't believe that's why Florida State. I think Florida State had issues.
Yeah.
And they don't play the next week. And now, by the way, they're going to make up that Duke game next week. Mm-hmm. So they're going to get one more crack at it. But I mean, this is bound to happen. This can happen. Like, you can call it what you want to call it. There's a part of me that thinks, my gosh, this would be awesome to read about in 50 years of the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry, that Jim Harbaugh, who is so disappointing, could go out in a legendary way and be kind of raised in the annals of Michigan football forever, even though he never beat Ohio State. He did this to Ohio State.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something to it.
Let's be honest here. And by the way, RG3 has, I think, torn a hamstring right off the bone because now he's limping. So I think he's done. Sorry, Brent. Sorry about that. But listen, if any team was going to wave the white flag and say, we're all good, it's going to be the Michigan Wolverines, right? Because they can't take another year of getting curb stomped by their rival, one of the biggest rivalries in all of college football. So would I be surprised if it could happen? I probably wouldn't be surprised, but I guess my overall thoughts about it is me putting my faith in the game of football and what I know about it. And what I know, at least what I think I know about the game of football, is that you have uber competitive athletes and coaches. You have guys that love to play the game, that play to win no matter what circumstances. And I think that if I'm going to sit here and say that a team's going to purposely try to back out of a game, regardless of what's at stake, regardless of who's playing and who's not playing, if I sit here and co-sign on that and said, yeah, I can see that happening, then I'm essentially turning my back on everything I know about football. I just think there's too much pride. There's too much tradition. I cannot see a team waving the white flag just to get out of a game.
I don't think so either. I don't
Yeah.
think so either. And that's why you go to Michigan is to play Ohio State, by the way. You know, like you don't want the competitor inside you. That does not mean, though, 50 years from now, if they can't play, it won't be interpreted like they stuck it to the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
This will be looked at like whether it was legit, whether it's waving the white flag, whether it's whatever. You're going to interpret it how you want to interpret it. The reality is they might not be able to play.
Yeah.
And if they can't play, Ohio State might not go to the championship game.
Yeah.
I mean, what a footnote this will be in the historic rivalry.
No, listen. Really, that's the only way I think if you're Michigan that you win, right, is you keep Ohio State possibly from the college football playoff. But if you're a Michigan fan, do you really celebrate that? Because to me, that's the coward's way out.
Yeah, probably not. Hey, more to come, including a thought or two on Tiger Woods, and I'll tell you how it came about. It's up next on ESPN 690.
You bump the temperature down at night, don't you? And you probably keep your daytime temperature set below 74 degrees too. Or at least one of you does. While the other complains that
it's freezing in here.
You know what that means? It means your home is too darn humid. If your AC had proper humidity control, you'd both be comfortable at 74 degrees. So you'd never feel sticky at night or during winter or when it rains. Ever been in the mountains out to California in a low humidity environment? Then you know mid-70s can feel magnificent. But when your home's too humid, it turns everything to turd buckets. Because cold air plus humidity equals condensation, causing your ducts, windows, and hard surfaces to sweat. Enter mold and mildew. Not good. With a Florida-rated system, you'd get proper humidity control, so you'd both be comfortable, you'd both sleep better, and you'd both stop fighting over the thermostat. But only if you call GriffinService.com.
License number 1250697.
An unprecedented year like 2020 calls for an unprecedented holiday offer from Diamonds Direct. So, for the first time ever during December, we're allowing 4 years zero-interest financing on anything and everything. It's our way of helping you make her holiday one to remember. Just pick any beautiful piece of jewelry, take the price, divide by 48, and that's your payment. A $4,000 pair of diamond stud earrings is just $84 a month. And we have the gifts women love. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, colored gemstones, all new fashion jewelry from top designers. And of course, the largest selection of engagement rings and certified diamonds in the country. After all she's been through in 2020, now's the perfect time to let her know how much you love her. Reward her with a gift that is romantic, timeless, and symbolic. And with 48 months zero-interest financing, you can afford to splurge. Diamonds Direct, helping you make that magical moment this holiday season. Shop online at DiamondsDirect.com or in person in our showroom. Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway, just left of the Hyatt.
Starting route. Your destination is 0.1 miles away.
If you drive less than
500 feet, turn left. You have arrived at your destination.
If you drive less than 25 miles a day, you could be paying less every day with pay-per-mile car insurance from Allstate. You get the same reliable coverage and hands-on expertise you'd expect from Allstate, but now at a price that's tailored to the miles you drive.
Call your local Allstate agent and start paying what's right for you. Pricing varies based on how you buy, driving behaviors, and includes a daily rate. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Not applicable in California. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and its affiliates.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, where we've got more ways to get what you need fast and take care of that fall tune-up. With our free same-day store pickup, you can order online and pick it up today at your local AutoZone. Or we can bring it to you with our free next-day delivery. Just order on AutoZone.com by 10 p.m. and we'll have it at your front door the next day. Getting your job done just got easier. Free next-day delivery on eligible orders. Restrictions at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At Lloyd's Construction and Consulting, we've been celebrating 10 years in business. Over the years, we've constructed thousands of projects in the Northeast Florida region. From commercial to residential, we handle each project with the respect and care it deserves. We look forward to speaking with you about your next construction project. Find out more at lloydsconstruction.net.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. In a game that was postponed 3 times, the Ravens and Steelers are approaching halftime now in Pittsburgh, with the Steelers leading at 12-7. Joe Hayden with a 14-yard pick six for Pittsburgh. Gus Edwards with a 1-yard TD run for Baltimore. The Ravens had no new positive tests today, but the NFL will face challenges to finish the season. ESPN's Dan Graziano.
They're going to be dealing with situations like they are dealing with in Baltimore, probably more frequently the rest of the way as the virus continues to spread, the weather turns colder, all these things that they've been worried about all along.
Dan Graziano on KJ and Z. The Vikings activate wideout Adam Thielen from the COVID-19 reserve list. Thielen missed Sunday's game against the Panthers. After winning a title, LeBron James will get a 2-year extension with the Lakers worth $85 million. 1960 Olympic decathlon gold medalist Rayford Johnson died today at his home in Los Angeles. He was 86 years old.
With thousands of locally owned Napa stores across the nation, chances are that wherever you call home, they do too. So whether you stop by a local Napa Auto Parts store, Napa Auto Care Center, or visit Napa online, you can count on Napa know-how.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
Keep climbing.
It's intercepted. Picked off of the 12. He will go down. He signs the promised land. Touchdown FSU.
This is your home for FSU football.
5, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown to Mario Terry. He is scary. Intercepted. Picked off of the 33-yard line.
Noles win. Noles win. Catch live coverage of the Seminoles all season long, right here on your home for Florida State football.
Hear the Florida State Seminoles on ESPN 690 thanks to Donato's Pizza. Every piece is important.
His poise.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
His poise, I think, is the time that he's had in National Football League has helped him. And I can remember him in college at NC State. I think didn't have a great offensive line, but he's always had a great feel for sitting in the pocket, wait till the last second to deliver the ball. And he will take some hits because of that and possibly throw some errant balls because of that.
You throw a sweatshirt on, you maybe take the light coat out if you want.
Sweater weather, man.
That's fine. It's beautiful. And then, by the way, we can go play golf on Friday afternoon in 70-degree weather if you want.
And that's when you get sick. That's when the immune system says, hey, I'm all good. I'm going to take a break from here.
But
just like that computer.
That's what I love about Jacksonville. But the question is, it was frost this morning on your windshield.
Relax.
So if there was, how did you get it off?
Okay.
Because do people have...
Brent, you know what? I'm disappointed in you. Like, Coos, I expected from Coos because he grew up in the South. You grew up in Rhode Island.
I grew up in Philly.
Listen, I'm just telling you. First of all, I wasn't up that early.
You did.
And I wasn't out getting in my car that early. Now, Steph was.
Well, there's a feather in your cap.
But listen. The reason it's not like I know what you use.
But you don't need... Oh, Brent, we're not up north right now. We're in Jacksonville, Florida. See, here's what happened. This morning, it was probably 7:30, had to take my son to school, and I look at the weather, right? Because I got to adjust for him, even though it doesn't... He could go out in Antarctica, and he could wear a T-shirt and shorts and be fine, because he's always playing. He's always running around. Big-time body heat from the Lane family. But with that being said, I go on my cell phone, I check the app, and what does it say? It says like 35 degrees and flurries, and it had snow flurries like coming down. I'm like, get out of here, snow flurries. Because listen, I'm not Mike Burrish. I'm not a meteorologist. But last time I checked, it's got to be below 32 degrees to snow. All right, it wasn't below 32 degrees this morning. So, hey, weather app, calm down. It wasn't flurries. Now, yes, there was some frost on the windshield, but let's not over-exaggerate things. You sit in your car.
Like 30 degrees.
You sit in your car. You turn the heat on. You turn the, what do you call that thing? Now I'm going to mess it up because I can't remember what you call it.
Ice scraper?
No, you don't need a scraper.
Defrost?
Thank you. Just turn on the defrost, wait 2 minutes, and you're good to go. We're not in the middle of Wisconsin right now where your whole shield's covered in frost. You can't see anything. We got to turn on the wipers and actually go outside and start your car for 10 minutes to let it warm up. Yeah. That's not what we're talking about here.
You know
guys
what
are both
I did?
soft.
I saw that it was going to be cold, so I woke up early on Tuesday, and went out to see where the sun comes through the trees. The first spot that we could park our cars, I parked my car there so the sun would hit it and defrost it earlier.
You're in Florida.
You have way too much time on your hands. You really thought about that?
Who plans that?
Well, because I knew I was going to need a defrost. I was like, well, I don't want to buy a scraper.
That is incredible.
You're not getting a scraper. You're not going to scrape windshields around me. Let me tell you that right now because we're in Florida. All right? So start acting like it. You want to go scrape some snow? I got a nice spot in central Wisconsin you can go live in, and you can scrape some frost and some snow.
Our buddy Joe Kepner from down at WFTV in Orlando says, pro tip is a credit card works as a window scraper in a pinch. And that's what I heard. I heard a couple of people used credit cards.
Brent, I expected better from you, man.
I'm just asking. I was sleeping.
Okay. I got you.
I was snuggled in bed.
I'm just saying, go in your car, turn it on. And I'm sure if you grew up in Florida, you're wearing like 5 sweatshirts and a beanie, all that stuff, fine. But just go in your car, turn the defrost on, hit the windshields, and wait. You set it and forget it for like 2 minutes and go about your business. This isn't like snowing and sleeting where, oh, my whole windshield's covered. I can't see anything. No. So stop over-exaggerating. Like, oh, I got to get a scraper because, heaven forbid, it takes 2 scrapes to get me out of the driveway. No. Just sit in your car, mind your P's and Q's, let the defrost do its thing, and go about it.
Or wake up the day before, find out where the sun comes through, and make sure you park
That's
there.
What serial killers do.
Use it. Yeah, and I would believe serial killers
that's
do
what
do
serial
that.
killers do.
Yeah, not the
serial
credit card
killers,
thing, but
no.
The sun might hit it.
They sit in their apartments and they're like, hey, you know what would be really smart of me to do right now? In about 18 hours or so, my car is going to be all frosty on the windshield. I should try to find the spot where the sun sets so that I can try to angle it. When I get up in the morning, the sun's hitting the windshield just right. That's serial killer stuff, sir.
I'm up before the sun's up anyway, so why not benefit from it?
This is a safe place right here. No one else is listening. You serial killer?
How many people have you killed?
There are people listening.
Nate
you serial killer?
24 degrees in Callahan. Frozen solid. 24 degrees in Callahan.
Where's Callahan? Is that in Jacksonville?
Yes.
I don't know where God. I know Callahan, they make brake pads in Tommy Boy. Or is that no? That's Black Sheep.
No, that's Callahan.
That's Tommy Boy. Yeah, it's Callahan.
That is Callahan.
Yeah,
You're
so
right.
Don't act like it's a city in Jacksonville.
It is only where Tim Tebow is actually from.
No, that's Tommy Boy. Enough said. I don't care about Tim Tebow.
John Peary says, park my car in the garage. Good idea.
Oh, what a luxury.
Good idea.
What a luxury.
One of my favorite stories of all time is going to Kansas City with the Jags.
Yeah.
And it was, at this point, we weren't traveling with the Jags, so we go commercial. Hickox, who's now working up in Atlanta, he was a photographer of ours, and he's on the trip with me. And so we go and we take a commercial flight. And when we did that, we would rent a car for the weekend. And so we go rent a car, but it's freezing. Kind of what December time, and Kansas City can get chilly and snow and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so we go in the car, and there's a scraper in the passenger seat. And Hickox, who's from Florida, is like, what this? He had never seen an ice scraper. I'm like, did that really just happen?
Yeah.
Like, guy from Rhode Island who's lived in Ohio and Albany, New York, and other places.
Did it have the brush on it, too?
Oh,
Yeah,
it was a full ice scraper. Yeah,
the works, yeah.
And he's like, what is this? I'm like, are you serious?
That's what I'm saying.
He's like, what is this? Like, what does this do? You're kidding, right? And I just never put two and two together. Like, but he actually said it this morning. I was at the gym.
Yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, my kids have no idea what an ice scraper is.
Yeah.
And then I thought, maybe my kids have no idea what an ice scraper is.
Because you're in Florida. You're soft.
Well, that's like when we first moved down here, I had a few friends from Jersey. I had to teach them how to pump their own gas because they had never done that.
That's
what?
Well, that's true. Well, I don't know about never done. That's pretty bad, number one.
But
Up north, a lot, you have the
attendants?
Full service. Yeah.
You tip them?
Sometimes you do.
Get out of here.
Honestly, I know my mom used to use like the full service gas station because it was right around the corner. I've always felt kind of weird doing it.
I don't think it's like an option though. Like
some places not, but it doesn't happen as much up north.
Yeah,
so you got to kind of find a gas station.
I mean, we
now.
used to have one like as a kid that, but like now, like so you're saying you just pull into a gas station and they pump the gas for you.
Yeah, I mean there was a very prevalent thing when I was a kid. As I got older, it was less and less of that. But
are these gated communities?
No.
I don't think so. No, I think it was just
it
was just gas. That's what they did in Jersey.
Huh.
So
man, you guys are weird.
Yeah,
weird.
Since we're on strange topics, I got a question for you because I'm looking into it. Miss Pac-Man.
What about it?
I want to buy a Pac-Man.
Okay, or a Miss Pac-Man machine.
Or a Miss Pac-Man
It's 2020, so it's same both.
Yeah. So which one should
do
I
you get? Oh man. Well, I think Miss Pac-Man's so you got a lot more levels, got a lot more fruits. So I'm probably.
I don't think there's a lot more fruits. I looked it up last night. I spent till like 1:30.
No, hey, what kind of life do you live where you can look up Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man till 1:30 in the morning and then sleep in and not have to defrost your windshield? You're living the life.
How is that less weird than me finding where the sun comes through?
No.
I honestly looked it up for like a half hour.
Keep it in
yesterday.
perspective because I've looked up dumb stuff at night too. I've never rearranged my entire day to go move my car so the sun hits just right in the windshield, Coos. So don't try to make it sound like you're not a serial killer when you clearly are. Brent, to answer your question, Miss Pac-Man or Pac-Man? I go with the newer one, right? And that's Miss Pac-Man.
I think so too. That's why I leaned.
Yeah.
You know, they're pretty affordable. I mean, it's still, I don't know if I'm going to do it.
You're getting like the giant arcade
But it's
thing.
not like, what they do now is they put them on like these, they're kind of like, I would say the poor man's version of the actual arcade. Like if you really want the arcade, it's going to cost you a few $1,000s.
It's crazy how much those things cost.
But you can get some you can get it like Costco for a few $100.
Yeah, they
like
have
the system, and you put on a riser.
They got one right here for $400 at
$400.
Walmart.
That's what I've seen it for.
Yeah, there you go.
And so I'm debating. I loved playing Pac-Man, right?
Yeah,
Pac-Man, but I was and I was pretty darn good at it.
Sure.
Just to let you know.
Flex.
So I kind of want it. See if Santa will bring it.
Oh man, see, I'm looking at both machines right now. And I'm not sure like what your interior is talking about. I'm not sure what color your walls are. But I just think from the graphics, from the colors, from the sound, I go Miss Pac-Man. It's just newer. You know, I mean, unless you want to relive that nostalgia and go with the old school one, I can see that point too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Miss Pac-Man.
You going Miss Pac-Man?
Yeah,
cool.
That's the way I'm doing it.
I got you.
Glad
to help out though.
Hey, what should I do for second half Prize Picks entries?
Second half Prize Picks entries.
Robert Griffin III's 5.9 points.
Well, he ain't gonna be running with that hamstring.
Yeah,
so you're gonna have to rely on his arms. So maybe go under.
How about Gus Edwards? 3.9 points. Over.
Okay.
Like it?
The Gus bus? Yeah, I mean, listen, Griffin can't run. So you got to hand the ball off to play that Ravens style of offense. I like Gus Edwards.
Chris Boswell, the kicker, needs a field goal and an extra. He probably needs 2 field goals, actually, 4.5 points.
No, he needs a 4.5. Yeah, so he needs 2 field goals.
Well, unless he kicks it from like 45
points.
yards.
Yeah.
Because you get more points from like 40 to 50 yards.
That you do.
PrizePicks.com, the PrizePicks app. Way to go here.
You might as well just go Marquise Brown under because the guy's been disappointing all year. And once again, I go with him, and I shoot myself in the foot because he's got 1.5 points out of the half. I need 7.8, sir.
The receivers are really tough, though, because it's one catch for 40 yards, and you're done on that.
I know.
You know, if they break one catch,
I know.
that's it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to go under on receivers, man.
Well, especially when it's PPR, so it's points per reception. So Marquise Brown all of a sudden has 5 catches. I mean, he's got to have 7.8. So
all right.
I get it, but it's RG3.
You can sign up right now. You can play along. PrizePicks.com, the PrizePicks app. Put in the promo code JAX, J-A-X. Make sure you do that because you get some bonus dollars if you do that on your entries. And we're going to start a tournament next week for the final 4 weeks of the season, and you can automatically be involved in that if you put the promo code JAX, J-A-X, in there. So that is the story, and that's the latest. It's halftime, or is it now third quarter?
No, we're back. It's third quarter now.
It just started, okay.
I'm sure Pentatonics is warming up their vocal cords for tonight, too, as well.
Christmas tree lighting.
Yeah, yeah.
I watched Tiger Woods' special, America's Son, I think America's Favorite Son, on ESPN. They ran it Sunday night.
Okay.
And it was about basically the impact Tiger has had, or in some respects hasn't had, on the African-American community.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the idea of the story. It's an hour documentary. It doesn't really involve Tiger as much as it's old clips of Tiger, but it's other people involved in golf, black men who play golf, black girls who play golf now because of Tiger.
Yeah.
That's the gist of it.
Sure.
It was really cool to see. It was an interesting documentary that ESPN did. And I think there's actually another one coming out in January that somebody else is doing on Tiger Woods, like more on his life. So all these things are popping up on Tiger.
Yeah.
But it was very appropriate for 2020 given the times in the summer that we just went through.
It was huge. Like, I remember being a kid growing up with Tiger Woods. And I remember just how much of a pop culture phenom he was, especially, in black communities. And, did they address it all, in terms of hip-hop? Because I distinctly remember at the time it was Puff Daddy he referred himself to, but it was Puff Daddy and it was Mace. And one of their songs, it was like a Tiger Woods, mockumentary, where Puff Daddy was, Tiger Woods supposed to be. And, that was a big deal, because, golf wasn't really cool. Right, and then Tiger Woods came along, and all of a sudden it's hip-hop artists are talking about him. Everybody was talking about Tiger Woods, and all of a sudden, golf became the cool thing. So I'm not sure if they addressed that at all in the documentary or not.
They didn't do as much as the social part of it. What they did is basically, from the Fuzzy Zeller comments at Augusta to Tiger's comments, which I wasn't as well aware of on Oprah, about not really embracing being an African-American as much as he was Asian American,
sure.
African American, and culture. His representing the culture of his mom and dad, but the black community was turned off by that, at least according to this documentary. Okay, so here's what got me onto this topic. I think Tiger Woods is up there with the most influential athletes of all time. He's created a generation of golfers. Black, white, Asian, global icon.
Like I just said, he made golf cool.
He made golf cool. But he didn't make black kids play golf, essentially. Now, at least not turn them into pro golfers.
Sure.
Here's the stat. This stunned me when it was written on the screen. In 1976, there were 11 African-American golfers on the tour. In 1997, when he won at Augusta, there was one, Tiger Woods. In 2020, there are 4. After a generation of Tiger's success, there are 4 African-American golfers on tour.
Wow.
That's it. That was stunning to me. He's created a whole generation of golfers, from Rory McIlroy to Justin Thomas to you name it.
Yeah.
And so what I come away with, I'm asking myself, well, why is that? That doesn't make sense to me. He inspired the black community.
Yeah.
He inspired the Asian community. He inspired golf all over the country. He inspired the white community. But does that mean golf is always going to be essentially a white sport?
Yeah.
If Tiger Woods couldn't change the numbers more dramatically than that,
Mm-hmm.
Will the numbers ever change, and why is it?
So let's be honest. When we're talking about black communities or we're talking about inner cities, like, at least from my perspective, I feel like the black community did embrace Tiger Woods. I thought people, like I said, he changed the game of golf and he made golf cool. But with that being said, it's not a cheap sport. All right? Like, to get good, it's not cheap. Like, why do you think there's so many great black NBA athletes out there? Because all you essentially need is a hoop and then the basketball and a work ethic. And you can make something of yourself. Golf is a little different. You need clubs. You need lessons. You need tee times. You need memberships. All that type of stuff adds up. It's the same kind of thing with hockey. Like, hockey's a very expensive sport as well. Now you can say, like, depending on the regions, that's what black people don't play hockey. But I just think it's because it's the cost. It's so expensive.
Yeah, the socioeconomics come into play.
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure, because we talked about this before a little bit with Ken Griffey Jr.
We talked about it in baseball.
When I watched the documentary, like, Ken Griffey Jr. for a while, like, he was the guy in the black community in terms of baseball. Like, I think Ken Griffey Jr. made baseball cool. Now, I'm not sure what the direct correlation between black kids growing up playing baseball was from Ken Griffey Jr., but I think there was definitely, like, a bump. With Tiger Woods, though, and just the sport of golf, like, while you might have cheered him on, and while, like, you may have, like, been like, this guy's awesome, at the same time, it's like, well, I'll never be that because I don't have the means to be that.
Yeah, and I don't have more numbers. I saw this last night. It was actually a documentary done Sunday, but I watched it last night. And so when I saw that number, I was like, my goodness, that doesn't seem to make sense to me, because I do think he's one of the most impactful athletes that have ever lived.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about different social issues that guys, like Kaepernick's now an impactful athlete. Mm-hmm. Muhammad Ali from a sport and social. LeBron James, sport and social. Michael Jordan, sport.
Yeah.
Right? But Tiger Woods is Michael Jordan of golf. Well, there's a lot of black athletes in basketball because of Michael Jordan.
Sure.
There are not a lot of black golfers, at least at the highest of levels, because of Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a weird thing to say. Like, once I saw the numbers, it hit me, because, listen, we do a lot with the first tee as well over the years and cover the first tee. And the first tee is meant to birth from the inner cities and the less privileged, if you will, to bring more people to the sport, white, black, Asian, but socioeconomic-wise, bring more people to the sport of golf.
Yeah.
And so we figure the first tee, I think eventually will still flip into some pro players because of that. There are more minorities involved in golf because of the first tee, I think, and other programs, by the way. It's not the only program. I just was astonished that maybe we just haven't seen it yet, but maybe we might never see it if Tiger Woods can't get, the black athlete to play golf at the highest of levels. And I think there's a lot of different reasons why. It's much like baseball, we say. From a culture standpoint, the cool sports, white, black, any sport, is basketball and football.
Absolutely.
Like, baseball's not the coolest sport to play. But I think you go try football first and basketball next, and then if you can't, like, if you're Ty and you're 100 pounds, you're not going to survive at basketball. He loves playing basketball. He plays basketball like every day. He loves going down the neighborhood and playing football, but he's 100 pounds. He's not playing high school football. He can play baseball and play second base, and that's an okay place for a 100-pound guy.
Sizes,
right? So it opens a door for that. Now, golf does the same. Ty can go play golf, right, because of that. So I don't know if that's a separator from a culture standpoint, and your top athlete standpoint are going to go play basketball and football because they're cooler sports. I don't know.
Let me ask you this, and you know a lot better than I do. The sport of golf, to become a professional and to become like a Tiger Woods level, I would at least think that takes a lot of specialization. Like, if you want to be the next Tiger Woods, then you can't go play basketball in high school. Then you can't go play football. Like, you have to focus all on golf.
Yeah,
like, I mean, we saw with Tiger Woods, right? Like, I mean, he started when he was,
like tennis,
4 or 5 years old. Exactly.
Gymnastics.
So I think the specialization, and this isn't just the black community, it's anybody, but I think that can turn a lot of people off as well, where it's like, I got to do this sport the rest of my life. That's the only sport I can do to be, like, the best at it. That can turn a lot of kids off.
Yeah, it just hit. I was like, wow, that doesn't seem.
What do you think that the Williams sisters have done for tennis? You think they have had definitely a bump? Because I'd be curious to see the numbers of that one.
Yeah, it's a good call. It's a good call. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would say probably there's been a bump
for sure
of young black girls.
Yeah.
Maybe even black kids in general that would like to go play tennis.
But I think there is some of the specialization of it, right? Because you can play football and basketball. You can make it one of those sports. But like if you play tennis or golf, I feel like you got to stay committed to those sports and focus on just those sports, or else you're not going to make it as a professional.
It's an interesting thing because I say it from a popularity standpoint. Like I didn't learn to play golf. I learned to play golf because I watched it on TV. I actually went and played a lot of tennis because I watched Andre Agassi play on TV, and I picked up a tennis racket and loved playing tennis.
Yeah.
But I did those things because I watched it on TV, not because my dad took me to play.
Yeah.
But I do think golf is one of those sports where, because of the country clubs, because of the whatever, dad takes you to play there or whatever, and you go play golf with your son. I mean, heck, that's how Tiger Woods got in.
Yeah.
Right? He got into the game because of that. So I don't know if that correlates to.
I would love to see the analytics of dual sport athletes playing tennis and playing golf and
probably not
professional. I would like to see it.
There's a lot of sports like that, though, swimming and gymnastics. And I watched this and I was like, wow, that is amazing that those are the numbers.
Yeah.
That only 4 African-American
Such a
golfers on
cultural
PGA
phenomenon.
Tour, even though golf is maybe as big as it's ever been.
Yeah.
And this guy, Tiger Woods, a black athlete, changed the landscape of golf for a whole generation.
Mm-hmm.
But inspired the black man, kid, woman, but maybe didn't turn them on to the game of golf as much as we think.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
In the long run. All right, we'll be back on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Fair to partly cloudy tonight, dropping into the 30s inland, 40s at the beaches, and in the upper 60s to around 70 for Thursday. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Just in time for the holidays. Save up to 40% on everything store-wide at Beard's Diamonds.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
During difficult times, young military families feel the impact. When a military spouse is unemployed, the whole family struggles. The Armed Services YMCA answers the call and provides food assistance to ensure military children have plenty to eat and childcare that enables military spouses to work. Now more than ever, we need your help to provide emergency relief to military families. Help now at helpymca.org.
If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and school just isn't for you, earn while you learn by enrolling in the Clara White Mission Workforce Training, designed for 16 to 24-year-olds and no experience necessary. National certifications include culinary arts, OSHA, HAZWOPER, forklifting, environmental training, and more. These programs are customized for low income and disadvantaged. Make your way to the Clara White Mission Training Center at 613 West Ashley Street. Call 904-354-4162 or visit clarawhitemission.org.
Hi, it's Brian Kilmeade for Phil Aiken Home Team Keller Williams Realty. I'm talking with Greg and Gary about their recent home sale. Why did you call Phil Aiken?
We called Phil Aiken because we had heard that his team will sell your house quickly and for more money than any of the other realtors in town.
Tell us what happened.
Phil Aiken and his A-team, they will make the process very easy. Sold in 4 days and got over asking price.
Well, that's great. So how did you think they were able to sell it so fast?
Because Phil has the buyers and they have the team that can get the job done quickly and stress-free.
What would you tell a friend who is looking for a real estate agent to sell their home?
Would I recommend Phil Aiken and the A-team? Absolutely.
Well, the results speak for themselves, right? Phil Aiken and his team have the systems and will even guarantee to sell your home in writing or buy it himself.
Yes, we got better results than we expected.
Thanks, Gary. Friends, hire the agent with the buyers looking to buy a home right now. Call Phil Aiken. Call 500-PHIL. That's 500-PHIL or visit philhasthebuyers.com.
Wolf,
Boss, have you heard the latest about the ding-dong doorbell cameras?
What, more employees spying on customers?
Nope.
Hackers again?
No, boss, this time they had to recall over 350,000 video doorbells.
Recall? What happened?
A bunch of them caught fire.
Whoa, unbelievable. It's one thing after another with them.
Yeah. Notice you never heard that with Safe Touch's video cameras?
Well, now you're just comparing a Bentley with a bumper car.
Exactly. I just don't understand why any homeowner wouldn't go with Safe Touch.
Yeah, their video monitoring's virtually hack-proof. Oh, and here's a bonus. Safe Touch cameras don't burst into flames.
No kidding.
It's just a good thing not everyone knows about Safe Touch, because we gotta stick to the Crooks or Us golden rule. Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Yeah, don't gotta tell me twice.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
HBI, a national leader for career training in the building industry, is providing training, certification, and placement in the construction industry for veterans, their spouses, and children that are over the age of 18 at no cost. The following 2020 class dates are being offered: August 10th, September 14th, October 19th, and November 16th. For more program and class details, please call Joe Jones at 407-717-7609 or visit the website at hbi.org. That's hbi.org.
For more than 25 years, the potential for health improvement is seen with each patient that walks through our doors. Healthcare decisions don't have to be confusing. Make Island Doctors your medical practice.
My husband and I have been coming to Island Doctors for approximately 10 years, and we have been very happy with them, and we trust them.
Call us today and schedule a tour of one of our locations near you and take a look at our Best Wellness program. And welcome home.
Call 1-877-434-4676 or visit islanddoctors.com.
I'm Elfrida Boney, founder and CEO of Perfectly Suited Career Consulting. I'm proud to be a Jags Chamber member and to serve on the advisory board of the Jacksonville Women's Business Center. The JWBC is innovating and adapting, embracing the digital transformation to serve more women in Northeast Florida. For example, we are launching the Network of Trust program that will mentor and vet female business owners, preparing them to take the next step as a company. For more information, visit JacksChamberFoundation.org.
Are you ready for it? Come on, you know what I'm talking about. Toyotathon is on. Yes, there's only one sale big enough to be called Toyotathon, and it's going on right now at Arlington Toyota. You can score amazing Toyotathon lease deals that'll put that new Toyota in your driveway today. So if you've been eyeing a sporty new 2021 Corolla LE, don't just eye it, drive it, and get a low Toyotathon lease for just $119 a month at Arlington. Or maybe it's a 2021 RAV4. Maybe that's your style. You're going to save on that too, because right now at Arlington, you can lease a new 2021 RAV4 for just $204 a month. Get to Arlington for Toyotathon savings today, where you can lease a new 2020 Camry for as low as $162 a month. And with every new vehicle purchased from Arlington, you get a lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles. Plus, you can buy with total peace of mind, thanks to Arlington's 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. Toyotathon is on, so don't wait. Shop safely in person at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/Toyotathon for full offer details.
Why call a professional if you're only going to get a half-assed solution? That's my philosophy. You called me to truly fix your problems like, boom, fixed and fixed right. So when Griffin Service offered full-service drain clearing, I insisted we take that approach. And for drains, it's not really about busting the clog. Sure, we'll do that better than anyone. But honestly, most Jake with a snake chuck in a truck plumbers can bust a clog. Professional quality drain clearing is really about taking an out-of-control situation and putting you, the client, back in control. I'm talking about transparency, with upfront pricing and camera work included in the price, so you know that the problem was fixed and fixed right. Because on the off chance you've got a bigger problem than clog busting can solve, you'll want to know you're dealing with a plumber you can trust, who has all the equipment to fix problems properly and guarantee the work. So call the plumbers to do it right at
GriffinService.com.
License number 1250697.
What can you get done in 10 minutes? Run a mile? Maybe. Find a date online for this Friday? Easy. What about listing your home for sale? In 10 minutes? Can't be possible. With the new Instant List tool from Rex, it is. Rex Instant List allows you to value and list your home with an agent in as little as 10 minutes. With the real estate market getting hotter, time is money. Let's get started. Visit sellwithrex.com. Since 2015, Rex has provided sellers with over $25 million in savings and absolutely no sacrifice on service. Have 10 minutes to spare? Visit sellwithrex.com to get started. Or speak to a Rex agent at 833-739-4663. 833-739-4663. That's 833-739-4663. Minimum fee may apply. Rex fully supports the principles of the Fair Housing Act and Equal Opportunity Act.
License number, Florida, CQ 1057788.
Nothing is certain except death and taxes. And your appliance is breaking down as soon as they're out of warranty. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we can't help with the first two, but we've got the third one covered. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have been repairing appliances for more than 35 years, with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. For quality repair at a price that's fair, trust Atlantic Coast Appliance. AtlanticCoastAppliance.com. That's AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At Lloyd's Construction and Consulting, we've been celebrating 10 years in business. Over the years, we've constructed thousands of projects in the Northeast Florida region. From commercial to residential, we handle each project with the respect and care it deserves. We look forward to speaking with you about your next construction project. Find out more at lloydsconstruction.net.
The economic difficulties caused by the current pandemic is affecting the survival of local small businesses. Many have had to close or greatly reduce operations. How well prepared are you to gear back up once conditions begin to improve? Will there be enough working capital to do so? Take advantage of this time to participate in a SCORE webinar or meet virtually with a counselor to get some ideas on developing a business recovery strategy. Register for a webinar or schedule a confidential mentoring session at jacksonville.score.org.
Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mahente.
Diana, I was on my table clipping the nails.
No.
That's pretty nasty.
Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Zubin. Weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Or streaming live on the ESPN app.
Brent Martineau.
There's 3 islands, and it can be very nice and lucrative, by the way. You could be a huge winner, but you could be a huge loser, too. You might not have a boat to get home.
Austin Lane.
Well, I like that now. I love that analogy.
Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
The other part that comes into play is sometimes, just the game management part of it, where, all of a sudden you don't have enough, if you're down and you don't have enough possession, and then, you've got to figure out a way to, keep possessing the football, which is the fourth down plays, or, trying to steal a possession here or there. So I think, that's my thought of how I, go into it, because, I try to make sure that I keep the game in the players' hands.
That is Doug Marrone, Jaguars coach. That is something, if you go all the way back to like when the Jags were really bad in 13 and 14 as well. I remember Gus Bradley talking about that a lot too. It's like when you're worse than the other team, you'll do something to try to steal a possession.
Correct.
Like you've got to do. Is that pretty common?
Yes.
Like you guys would talk about that stuff.
Yeah, you try to find that spark, that competitive edge. Yeah.
Or just, you have to get a leg up in some way, shape, or form. So if it's an onside kick, if you're not creating turnovers at the time, if it's a fake punt, a fake field goal, those are things that they go outside the normal sequence of a game.
Sure.
That you can say, okay, we've evened the field now because they're this much better than us, but now, bam, we're on an even level because we stole one.
Yeah, it's the whole philosophy of where momentum and game flow can overcome sometimes talent, and being the worst team on the field.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. I think you also got to be really careful to admit that you are that much worse than another team.
Don't want to say that in the locker room to your guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
But, the tape doesn't lie.
The eye in the sky does not lie, bro.
Hey, Dan Mull, I had a question this week on an email, and this is from Bruce. Said, I believe the Jags should go all in for Dan Mullen as the next head coach. Just like Carolina did with Matt Rule last year, give him 8 years and align him with a great GM from the beginning. You seem like you hate the idea already.
I don't hate the idea.
Bottom line is going to be like 8 openings potentially. So even if it's not Jacksonville, does Dan Mullen make sense in the NFL?
So here's the thing. Why would you? Okay, so when you say Dan Mullen, because I can say Matt Rule, and I think Matt Rule is more of a culture changer.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's going to turn the whole thing around. When I say Dan Mullen, what comes to your head in terms of a head coach in the NFL? Like, what does he bring on the table?
Can flat out coach offense.
Yeah. And even especially the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
So he's going to get the most out of your quarterback offense. I feel good about him calling plays.
Yes. So I'm not mad at that. I mean, that's where the game is going.
Like he's an A-plus play caller.
No, for sure. And that's exactly where the game is going. These quarterback-friendly offenses, these quarterback-friendly coaches, that's where the game is going. So if that's the case now, I need to interview him and see the personality part, but I think what he brings to the table from an offensive-minded guy and a quarterback-friendly guy, I've heard worse ideas, let's just say.
Well, it's interesting. Okay, so you get a guy like we were talking earlier, Robert Saleh.
Yes.
Who feels like a culture-building guy who's hard-nosed, going to establish an identity and a standard and help change something around potentially.
And he also has the ability to adapt, which I like a lot because he's changed up his defense a couple times.
Yeah, and he's a good coach. It's not taking
it.
anything away from X's and O's, but I would look at a defensive-minded coach coming in and be like, okay, we're going to have a standard. We're going to play by that standard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you go culture builder like one of those guys, or do you say, I got myself an A-plus coach?
Yeah.
You know, and I'll let the GM figure out the culture part. And by the way, it's misleading to say Dan Mullen isn't a culture builder. He has changed it around in Gainesville. They have won a ton of games. His record, I think I saw through the first 41 games, is better. Maybe it was like 34 games. I think it was 34 games. Mm-hmm. Is better than he and Urban Meyer were in their first 34 games. They were not winning in Gainesville. They are winning in Gainesville. Now, whether they can win big in Gainesville, that's the next step of this. But I think overshadowed in terms of how much he's done for the culture there in Gainesville is the fact that he's such a good play caller.
No, for sure. I'm going to say this. Through even the past decade, there's been a lot of great coaches. There's been great coaches that have won a lot, and there's been bad coaches, obviously, that have lost a lot, right? But with those great coaches, whether they're great offensive play callers, whether they're defensive-minded guys, to me, like, you can always get your foot in the door and be successful off the get-go. For instance, I would say Sean McVay. Sean McVay, kind of since day one, there was something different about him, right? And then his second year, he was a Super Bowl. So, like, that was the hot commodity, was Sean McVay. Now, we'll see what Sean McVay brings for the next 5 to 10 years, right? I'm not sold on Sean McVay yet. But my point is that if you want longevity in this league, if you want to build something special, yes, you have to call the right plays. Yes, you have to have the right scheme. But even more important of that is the culture. Because I can point to Mike McCarthy and said there was a time where Mike McCarthy's one of the best coaches in the NFL in Green Bay, right? He won a Super Bowl because of it. But then, for whatever reason, he couldn't sustain that. And that's the most important part about coaching. It's being consistent. It's sustaining it. And you, like I said, you're going to have the ebbs and flows. Players are going to come. Players are going to go. Things are going to happen. Players are going to go. But as long as you have the culture to facilitate that locker room, that's where you have success, and that's where you have longevity. So when we talk about these offensive-minded guys like a Dan Mullen, Lincoln Riley even, or anybody else, or even like a Bieniemy, that's great. We're talking about these offensive-minded guys and these quarterback-friendly guys. That's where the game is going. But that's not always going to be there. There's going to be possibly rough seasons. And when you have those rough seasons, do you have the culture to fall back on and say, we're going to be okay. We're going to ride these rough waters, and we'll come out the other side looking fine. Because a lot of coaches can't do that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the one thing I will say, here's what's weird when you talk about Mullen, in my opinion, is his personality. Maybe it's because of the Spurrier influence, in Gainesville and just kind of that aura of Spurrier. And Mullen is kind of that ilk a little bit. Can be quirky, can be kind of a fast tempo talker, all this stuff, and really say absolutely nothing, and still likes to zing you.
Well, let's be honest. The guy dressed up like Darth Vader for a press conference.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Say no more.
So say no more. Is it a hard time to see that fitting in the NFL? Like, does he have a personality that's hard to see fit at this level? It works in college, but it might not work in the NFL. You're not dressing up as Darth Vader, I don't think, here in Jacksonville if you're the head coach of the Jaguars.
See, no, I definitely agree with that because you're dealing with a bunch of grown men. Like, you're not dealing with college student athletes who could come along with you no matter what you do. Like, I'm sure when he dressed up like Darth Vader or whatever like that, I'm sure the whole locker room synopsis was like, well, that was crazy. Like, that's funny. That's our coach right there. But, like, the guys in the league don't care, right? Like, I'll be honest with you. I get the same vibes from Dabo. Like,
fair question.
When I see some of the things, like some of the mannerisms that Dabo brings to the table, some of the things that he says in interviews, I watch that and I'm like, I get it from the college perspective.
Yeah.
Because you're shaping young men. So it's okay to sometimes act like that crazy uncle. That's okay.
Yeah.
But when you get to the league, like, that's all fluff.
Yeah.
Like, guys don't buy into that.
They see through that.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and I think that's why people have a hard, if I'm being honest, that's why I have a hard time seeing Mullen at the NFL level.
Mm-hmm.
I think it works in college. I don't know if it works. I think he's got a little golly gee, shucks.
Yeah.
And Spurrier didn't work.
Sure.
And by the way, Spurrier was great. And Mullen right now is great. It's not a knock. I'm trying not to knock them. I'm just saying I don't know if it translates.
But see, here's the thing, though, Brent. Like, I sit here and say, well, Nick Saban should have had the most success out of anybody because Nick Saban is like the Bill Belichick
Well, he
of
might
college
if he went
football.
back now. He might be a way better coach right now.
But then I see Pete Carroll, and Pete Carroll was quirky.
Yeah, but
right?
he wasn't.
But he
golly
wasn't
gee,
gimmicky. Okay.
He still probably kick you in the ass.
Sure.
You know,
I got you.
and not to say Mullen doesn't. It just doesn't come across that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pete Carroll feels a little more. I know he likes
to have
jumps
fun,
up
man.
and down
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. But listen, Kirby Smart jumps pretty high on the sideline too.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a lot of that.
Yeah.
He doesn't smile much.
True.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's just a different feel, and it might be a wrong feel. It might be an error on my part to say that. I'm just telling you that's why I have a hard time associating Mullen to the NFL level is because of that.
Let me ask you this, though. With the Jacksonville Jaguars being the youngest roster in the NFL, do you, going forward, the new head coach to come in, do you want that quirky guy that can relate to the younger players maybe, that treats them like college players?
Well, listen, it worked. You're saying like the Brad Stevens effect, but Brad Stevens isn't a quirky guy. Like, he doesn't feel like a college guy.
Sure.
His college maybe mentality translated because they were so young with the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what you're saying. And that's why I think Dabo could work. Dabo actually feels like it could work even more than Mullen. And you know why? Because I've seen Dabo build a championship culture there. You're not just golly, oh, gee whiz all the time if you're winning championships, man. I mean, he stuck a foot up someone's you-know-what more than one time there at Clemson. And I know he comes off as that a little bit sometimes, but that guy knows how to build a culture.
Well, he's also a great recruiter, and that goes to show you that he can relate to the players.
True. So yeah, it's a hard fit. Yeah. It's a hard fit. I don't know if Dabo will work in the NFL, but I would trust that probably more than Mullen, if I'm being honest.
Would you rather see the team go in a direction where it's like a more fun-loving guy? Like, I mean, and I say Pete Carroll lightly, but you know what I'm saying. Would you rather see like a player's coach, or would you rather see like more of like the old school Ron Rivera type for this roster right now?
I feel like I'd see the Pete Carroll, Andy Reid, Sean McVays of the new way, Kingsbury's of the new way, rather than the old guard of Belichick, Coughlin, Rivera. And I'm not hey, it might work. I'm just saying with this
from
young
a
relationship
team
to the players and everything else, the way it is, it's just different now.
Yeah.
I think I'd probably lean there. All right, so we talked about this briefly the other day. I had a nice compliment, by the way. Somebody listened to the show and said they liked the segment or the thought of that you can't really swing and miss on quarterbacks anymore. And will it water down the position much to the point of like running backs have been watered down because you can find them in the 4th round, the 6th round? And I thought it was a good question.
Not bad.
I don't think we're there yet in the quarterbacks, okay? My point is I think the floor of the quarterback has been raised. I think what we just talked about when we said Mayfield.
Yes.
Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Sam Darnold might still be halfway decent.
And then Josh Rosen.
And Josh Rosen, I think you throw out here, right?
Okay.
Because we just don't know.
Yeah.
But Darnold, I think he's going to get another crack at it because you have no idea if he's any good or not based on what's going on in New York.
Yeah.
And so I think the floor of Sam Darnold is no longer the Ryan Leaf floor. I think that's what we've seen. Like the Jamarcus Russell floor. This absolute bust of the quarterback, I don't know if it exists anymore. And you're always going to have a couple, right? Guys that just don't work out for whatever reason or don't get another crack at it, whatever reason. But I think guys now have so much knowledge on how to play that position They've been doing it from such a young age, 12, 13 years old, 7-on-7, slinging the ball around. They've got specialty coaches, how to throw the throw the football the right way. From Tom House to, name it, Jordan Palmer or whoever, right? So there's just this knowledge about the position. And I think the bigger factor is we no longer are asking quarterbacks to come out of college and say, adapt to the NFL. We will now adapt to you, which has been a smarter move, and that's why we're seeing a flood of success, I think, with young quarterbacks. Look at all these quarterbacks around the league, and teams believe in them. Look at Justin Herbert, who we were kind of wishy-washy on. He's been excellent. Tua, who knows, we'll see. But even Baker Mayfield, who, again, is having the best season for Cleveland in a long time. Daniel Jones has shown some signs. Are we convinced that all these guys are going to be Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady? No.
Yeah.
But I'm also not convinced any of them are going to be Ryan Leaf or Jamarcus Russell. That was the point. I think it's hard to swing and miss. If they go with Lawrence, if they go with Justin Fields, if they go with Zach Wilson, I think they're going to get some pretty good quarterback play even if they miss.
You're not wrong.
But you got to want to find the Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson.
Without a doubt. Listen, you're not wrong in how you're breaking this whole thing down. Because I think if we look of the eras of like the Steve Youngs and the Brett Favres and the Dan Marinos and things like that. Like, listen, they're great quarterbacks in their own right. But in that era, there's also some quarterbacks who weren't that good. But the difference between the current era right now and that era is that the quarterback position has changed so much in terms of athleticism. Right? Like, these quarterbacks now in the NFL, like, Brent, they could probably all run at least 4.7s, 4.6, 4.8s.
Yeah.
That was unheard of 10 to 20 years ago.
Yep.
There's a couple of guys, but for the most part, that was unheard of. So in terms of athleticism, yes, it's different. In terms of, obviously, offensive philosophies, it's different. It's a lot more spread out. It's a lot more quarterback friendly. Obviously, the rules now of pass interference, targeting, like that helps the offense out as well. Helps the quarterback out. So I agree with you when we say, yeah, it's hard to possibly miss on a quarterback. You're not going to ever have like that true bust per se. But at the same time, to me, that's where mentality comes into it even more, right? Because that's what separates, to me, the Peyton Mannings and whoever you want to say, maybe the Justin Herberts and maybe the Trevor Lawrence coming out. But it's like, it's the mentality part of it. Like, everyone's going to be able to run a pretty good 40-yard dash. Everyone's going to be pretty mobile. Even like Jake Luton was a little mobile. But I'm saying what separates them is the decision-making and obviously the character building.
Hey, LeBron James, 2-year, like $85 million deal. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
They win again. We'll talk a little more NBA later in the week because camps opening up and stuff. But I kind of have a feeling they might win again.
It's hard to pick against them.
Or the Clippers finally say, does it this the year with the Clippers? Or
it's just, I mean, even the Nets, though, too. Like, don't think about Kevin Durant.
It's going to be really good on paper, but I will not pick the Nets.
No, I hear you.
No way.
Even like the Mavericks looking good. Like, there's so much talent right now in the NBA.
That's good. You used to be able to name the final three teams.
Absolutely. That it's hard to really pick a winner, I feel like.
I think Lakers are the only one you can name. Everyone else is kind of a wild card.
Yeah, a little bit of a wild card. All right, hey, Live Local Loud coming up next here on ESPN 690. Then at 7:30, they'll hand you off to the Florida State UNF Ospreys game right here on ESPN 690. I'll have highlights of that one coming up later tonight on CBS 47 and Fox 30. 12-7, Steelers beating the Ravens. Have a good night, everybody, and enjoy the tree lighting, too. As the seasons change, there's one thing that never changes: the importance of clean drinking water. A Connecticut system from CGC Water removes